In the heart of Indiana, two of the country's most respected Division III teams battle it out for one of the most storied trophies. It's a rivalry unlike anything else in college football. And in 1932, the bell from the Monon Railroad that linked the two campuses was donated as the trophy that goes to the victor of this fall classic. It's about legend and legacy. For DePauw today, a chance to finish up a very good season. Wabash is looking for perfection. Greencastle and Crawfordsville are separated by 27 miles. A century of competition reunites them each November. And once again today, the 300-pound bell will ring strong and true for alumni and fans nationwide. It is the 114th battle between DePauw and Wabash for the ultimate prize, the Monon Bell. It rings loud and clear throughout West Central Indiana, and for fans and alumni joining us nationwide, it is a picture-perfect afternoon here in Greencastle, Indiana, where the Tigers host the Little Giants. 800 plus coming out early for tailgating before the day is over. 8,000 will be here at Blackstock Stadium. They would actually be able to have more if there were more seats available. That's how big this game is, of course, each year. Hello, everyone. I'm Kenny Rice. Glad that you could join us for the 114th Monon Bell. It's always great to catch up with old friends like we do every year at this time here on HDNet. Joe Emmick has covered this as a journalist for many years. Rob Doyle led DePauw's Tigers into this game many times. So, guys, you know all about the history as much as anybody I know. But one thing special about this today is coming in here with all the years and years, actually centuries of tradition, we're going to see two of the greatest players in the history of their respective programs. Let's make a case for the Wabash defense first with A.D. Pennenberg.
All-American middle linebacker A.D. Pennenberg is the heart and soul of this football program. He enters today as the career leader in Wabash history in total tackles and tackles for a loss. Leads the team in that category again this season with 123 stops. No one else on the team with more than 63. It will be A.D. Pennenberg who will determine whether or not Wabash is able to stop DePauw's record-setting rushing attack.
And, of course, he'll be looking a lot at number 31 today for DePauw. That is Jeremiah Marks. He has done just about everything a running back could be asked to do during his great career here, Rob.
Yes, Jeremiah Marks has had a great career at DePauw. He's the second leading
preparing
career
to meet
rusher
at
in
midfield
all
for the coin toss.
in DePauw history. He has had a wonderful season. Despite having missed only 3 games, he is still the leading rusher in the Southern Athletic Conference. DePauw is going to have to rely on him very heavily today to dominate that line of scrimmage, maintain ball control, and keep Wabash's offense off the field.
So we're going to see the greatest tackler going up against the greatest running back probably several times today. Now let's talk about the quarterbacks. First of the season, I would say Wabash has an All-American quarterback, and they have in Matt Hudson a pretty good backup. But now Matt Hudson is a star.
That's right. Dustin Huff, the preseason All-American quarterback, lost to a season-ending knee injury in Week 1. Matt Hudson was the backup going into Weeks 2 and 3. He took over in the second half of the game against Ohio Wesleyan. He's been the starter ever since. What has he done? An undefeated record, 17 touchdowns against 5 interceptions. He's 4th in the nation in passing efficiency. He's on a record pace for completion percentage, completing 71% of his passes. He's been one of the great stories in an otherwise great year for Wabash football.
And let's take a look now at Spud Dick, the quarterback who stepped in last year and played the majority of the time as a freshman, has started all the way this season, Rob.
Yeah, I don't think people understand how difficult it is to come and play in this game as a freshman. Even as a sophomore, your first time, it's a big deal. Spud has had a great season. He's thrown for over 2,000 yards this year, completed almost 60% of his passes. His forte, however, is driving his team down late in a game. He's had 2 great game-saving wins, and that's what's probably going to be needed today if they're going to come out on top.
Well, we know how special the Monon Bell is. You guys certainly know, but we've been coming here for several years now with HDNet. We welcome in. The lady will be reporting from out today around the sideline there. Natalie Taylor. Welcome into the Monon Bell, Natalie.
Hey, thanks, Kenny. Glad to be here. Thanks for that welcome. You know, it may seem that DePauw has a home field advantage with this crowd today, but let me tell you, if you go up the road to Wabash, they have a little something special on their practice field to remind them of how special this team is. 3 stumps. Why? Well, Coach Creighton takes his team up for conditioning to a camp every year, and one of the physical tasks this year was to cut through a giant tree stump. Well, Coach was surprised to see his team cut through 1, cut through 2, and went for a 3rd. So the team brought the stumps back and brought them to the practice field. So every time they head out to practice, it reminds them just how special their relationships are. And you know, Kenny, Coach took the team back there last night to reflect on their season and get pumped for this game today.
All right, thank you, Natalie. And if they're able to chop down DePauw today, they will have a perfect season at 10-0. If DePauw wins, it will be the 3rd time in 11 years that the Tigers have put up an 8-win season. So a huge game as always, a lot on the line as well. We'll talk about throughout the day. But right now, let's hear from Coach Chris Creighton and Matt Walker as they talk about their respective teams and what they have to do to come away with a victory.
They play hard. We just feel as though we're going to get their very best. They mix up their coverages, and they're a 4-man front, and so we're going to need to be able to run the football and then to try to keep them off balance and to throw it in spots as well.
And we are a boring, kind of an old-school throwback team that wants to pound the football, control the clock. I don't want to say clearly we respect and understand how good this football team is that we're playing. But we haven't gotten, all year, we haven't gotten caught up in what the other team has been trying to do because we know what we're going to try to do. They know what we're going to try to do. We're not a tricky team. We're not a gimmicky team. We're not smoke and mirrors. We are kind of a downhill running football team that wants to get as many touches in Jeremiah's hands as we can.
The DePauw faithful, they want to bring the Bell back here to Greencastle. It has been in Crawfordsville, the home of Wabash, for the last 2 seasons. Wabash has won 5 of the last 6 meetings for the Monon Bell. This after DePauw closed out strong in the 90s, winning 6 straight. And there you see the crowd of 8,000 that will be here today. They actually have to bring in 4,000 temporary bleachers every other season here to Blackstock Stadium to accommodate this crowd. Now, guys, is it as simple as this? Can they control the defense, at least for DePauw? Can they control the passing game of Wabash? And can Wabash control Jeremiah Marks in the good running game? Does it come down to being that simple to win this game?
I think it does, Kenny. I don't know how Rob feels about it, but I think whichever team can do what it does best, whether that's Wabash throwing the ball or DePauw running the ball, that team is going to be the victor today. I don't think there's much question about that.
Yeah, most games come down to who's going to win the line of scrimmage. For DePauw to win, get Jeremiah Mikes going, they have got to win the line of scrimmage. On the converse side, if they're going to stop Wabash's passing game, he's going to sit back there and play pitch and catch all day. They've got to control the line of scrimmage, get to the quarterback, put some pressure on him, and force some of that 70% completion percentage to get down to 50 or below. That's where you start getting them in ranges where they're not comfortable.
Wabash leads 53-51 and 9 in this series. And kicking things off will be DePauw, as winning the toss is Wabash. They elected to receive. They want to get that offense going. Here is Brendan Smith to kick things off, and the 114th Monon Bell is underway. Wabash coming out with it early on, and this one getting good field position right around their 20-yard line after taking it right on the goal line. J.T. Moore carrying it out and setting things up now, and Wabash will go on the attack with a very explosive style of offense, one averaging 32.4 a game, and one where all the receivers get involved. If you're out there and can catch the ball, there's a good chance that Matt Hudson's going to throw it to you, Joe. 4
outstanding senior receivers, 2 other receivers who will see some balls who are underclassmen. But Coach Creighton wants to try to establish the run early and then work the short passing game off run action.
Matt Hudson, the quarterback. Evan Sebecki is the lone setback. Going in motion is Ray Green. And they'll try the ground game early and pick up a couple of yards. Sebecki, the 194-pound sophomore from Granger, Indiana, getting the carry. And as we take a look at the Wabash offense here, led by quarterback Matt Hudson, it is one where Morrison used to be a defensive player, now moved to the offensive line. They've been banged up and battered, but they've been tough. Niemeyer has played with a stress fracture all season long. Any one of these guys can catch the ball. Brock Graham having a huge season with 9 touchdowns. Mike Russell overall moving up on the career chart as one of the great receivers in Wabash history. On 2nd and 9 from their own 21. Hudson, incomplete. Zipped it out there, intended for Andrew Rohde.
We've seen Wabash open the game in a slightly different personnel package than we normally see them open. They've gone with a 2 tight end set on the first 2 plays. That is unusual for them.
Yeah. Michael McNeilis is one of the anchors here, one of the great players with 6.5 sacks to lead the team. And you take a look at the rest of this DePauw lineup. McElwain and Costello having very good seasons. Pruitt in the secondary has 5 of the team's 8 interceptions this year. And here it is, a 3rd and 9 for Wabash on the opening drive of the Monon Bell.
Very surprised to see how conservative Wabash has started off the game.
Hudson, complete at the 30. Close to a first down.
That's one of his favorite targets. Senior receiver Mike Russell from Terre Haute. Looks like he'll be just short. It's a 3-step drop. Hudson is patient, fires it to Russell, but he didn't run the route far enough. He stopped about a yard in front of the first down marker. And again, the Little Giants going with that 2 tight end set to try to give DePauw a little bit different look. Usually you'll see Wabash with a lot of trips formations, but the coach is trying to change things up and give DePauw just a little bit different look at things.
Here's something rare. Chad Finley will punt for only the 29th time this season. He's averaging right around 41 yards per kick. This one will take a bounce and a roll for Wabash, and they will wait and down it at the 30-yard line. So DePauw gets ready to come on offense for the first time, holding Wabash to 3 and out.
That's a great start for the DePauw defense. They really felt like they could put some pressure on Wabash today and maybe slow this offense down a little bit, maybe stop them a little more than they're accustomed to being stopped. Just on that 3rd down play, they gave them just enough but kept them away from a first down so they get possession back.
Finley, a 40-yard kick on that, right around his average. And here comes Spud Dick and the Tigers offense for the first time today. Handoff, Marks, goes right up the middle.
He looked bottled up there, but he bounced out at the last second and looks like he picked up about 4 or 5 yards.
As we take a look at the starting lineup here for DePauw, Kerry Pappas is one of their stars on the line. They will run a lot to the right and use him to pull out there. Jokel and Lundorf are back from last season. Taking a look at the backfield, Spud Dick, of course, now his 2nd year as a full-time starter. Brian Mulligan is one of his favorite targets. Jeremiah Marks, we've talked about him, one of the great players who picked up 4 yards on that one. First pass completion and a first down and more on the far sideline. DePauw going to the air. Spud Dick hitting Alex Kors. And the freshman from Indianapolis hauls it in, his 41st reception of the season.
Now Spud just a little quick 3-step drop. That's a hitch there. Actually, that was to Mulligan. He's had a very productive year, and that's what you want to do. You want to take the little things that they give you, get a nice little rhythm, and put together some first downs.
And Rob, rhythm is what Neil Nethery, the Wabash defensive coordinator, is worried about. He told me yesterday if Spud Dick gets into a rhythm where he gets comfortable with his 3-step drop, slants, and those hitch routes, it's going to be a long day for the Wabash defense.
In the play, dead ball, personal foul on the defense, 15 first down.
Well, I didn't see what that was, but
Well,
that can hurt.
Adding to that, a 15-yarder tacked onto it after the completion moves the ball down to the 41-yard line of Wabash. Tigers getting perhaps a huge break there on this opening drive. On 1st and 10, Marks spins and picks up another couple of yards after being stopped about the line of scrimmage. That's why he has been able to record 3,600 plus yards coming in. As we take a look now at the defense for the Wabash Little Giants. We've talked about Pinnenberg. Keenan is having a spectacular year. He is among the nation's leaders in sacks As you look at the backfield where Bell and Kraft, they've had to play with injuries. Lehman is out of the starting lineup right now. Dan Ryan Wood taking his place because of injury. On 2nd and 6, ball is tipped, and it's intercepted. Wabash has it, taking it back the other way. Huge turnover for Wabash. The Little Giants able to get the interception off the deflection. Matt Kraft comes away with the pick, and Wabash has it back.
Spud Dick had plenty of time to throw, but the ball was tipped by A.D. Pinnenberg. We'll see it here on the replay. And Matt Kraft, a junior from Newburgh, Indiana, with the interception off the deflection. That's his 2nd pick of the season. And a huge turn for the Little Giants. DePauw had control of the early going of this first quarter, and Wabash comes up with a momentum-changing turnover.
Kraft returns it back 15 yards, right about midfield. Wabash will start once again at their own 49 this time. Talked about very conservative first series for the Little Giants. What about this time around? Again, handoff up the middle, and about a couple of yards is all Sebecki will get.
Down and distance is going to be a key today for both teams. If the Little Giants can keep DePauw in 2nd and 3rd and long, their defense will be doing well. The converse for the offense, if they're in 2nd and 3rd and short. And so far here in the early going, Wabash not getting much on first down.
You look at Chris Creighton, who is trying for his 3rd perfect regular season.
And they spread the formation a little more here on the 2nd and long, so I'm sure they're going to throw the ball.
2nd and 8 at the 49 of DePauw. And a flag is thrown.
There's a penalty marker on the play.
This may be going the other way. It is against Wabash. Looks like illegal procedure.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat.
So that moves it back 5 and makes it 2nd and 13 back to the 46 of Wabash. You might have noticed that Band-Aid on the nose of Coach Chris Creighton. He told us yesterday practice got a little rough this week. He was right there in the trenches. But was glad to see it. He wants his team to be playing this hard-nosed type of football. Here they come up on a 2nd and 13. Hudson, complete. Hitting Liska out of the back, hitting Liska, the tight end. He doesn't make a lot of catches, but he makes some big catches for them, and he hauls in one there, his 16th catch of the season.
Actually a very well-designed play. They isolate the tight end on the linebacker and just gives them time to beat him out there in the flats, and you get a nice first down play.
Liska, a big target at 6'6", 239 pounds, and that gives you an idea of the array of targets Matt Hudson has available to him in this Wabash passing game.
Liska, a key man for them on 3rd down situations this year. He's had 9 big receptions, makes a catch of 16 yards there, and a first down to the 40. Hudson on the play action. He's going deep over the middle, and it's incomplete. He wanted it all and was firing it downfield. Javon Pruitt just about step for step there with Bart Bannock to knock it away.
Matt Hudson has had a very good year, but if there is one thing the coaches would like him to improve on, that is his throwing mechanics, particularly his release. And on deep balls, he tends to throw them just a hair late. You can see here on the end of the replay, Bannock had a step on the receiver. If Hudson gets rid of that ball just a fraction of a second earlier, that's a touchdown for the Little Giants.
Yeah, Javon Pruitt was actually beat there. If he'd thrown that ball a little sooner, I would agree, Joe, that probably would have been a huge play. That ball needed to be released just a second sooner.
On 2nd down at the 40. In motion is Guerrero. Hudson rolling, firing, complete, and another first down for the Little Giants. Hitting one of his favorite men, Mike Russell, coming off a big week with 11 receptions against Denison. And Russell moving up on the all-time list, number 4 in touchdown catches, number 5 in receptions.
Russell missed the first 2 weeks of the season with an injury to his arch. Since then, he's collected now 44 receptions, including 2 today, and he is one of Matt Hudson's favorite targets. You also saw there another element of Matt Hudson's game. He is not as athletic as Dustin Huff, but he can throw well on the run and does make some good decisions in the pocket.
Pickup of 12, first down to the 28. Wabash driving here in the second time they've had the ball. Hudson in trouble, and he's brought down. Big play by the DePauw defense.
Grant Wright just came off the corner there, got great pressure. Hudson could not step up and make the throw, as you see here. Really just a terrific one-on-one move there. Just beat his man, and that's what DePauw has to do to stop this offense, because the one thing you do is get a quarterback out of rhythm, is get it in his face, put some pressure on him, get a sack here and there, just get him out of his comfort zone.
Alex Finch, the 6'2", 230-pound sophomore from Lone Grove, Illinois, with the sack, a loss of 9. And now it's 2nd and 20 for the Little Giants. Ball back to the 38 of DePauw. Hudson flipping it complete to Sebecki out of the backfield. Let's check in now with Natalie.
Hey guys, while you're talking about Matt Hudson there completing that pass, speaking with Coach Creighton, he made no secret that he did have to change his offense just a little bit than he planned, because Matt had not taken a pass or taken a snap, since the Ohio Wesleyan game, which was the 3rd game in. Comes out obviously dominating here. The interesting thing about Matt, he's a rhetoric major, and we joked he enjoys playing, but he also wants to be on the sidelines, taking our job, Kenny.
Well, he's in the majority in that, as we know, Natalie. And here it comes up on 3rd and 14 at the 31. Graham in motion to the left. He's been a key man for them on big situations this year. Firing over and once again finding Russell. And Russell has picked up, it looks like a first down again for the Little Giants. When in doubt, it seems like go to Mike Russell and he's going to come through for you.
A little bit of pressure on Hudson. McNeilis came free, but Hudson did a good job to sidestep it, made a good throw on the crossing route to Russell. He's just short of the first down, but I would guess this is 4-down territory for the Little Giants. They have only converted 1 field goal all year in 5 attempts, and I think you'll see a lot of 4th down plays for the Little Giants if they're in this situation.
It's going to be about 2 yards to go as Russell stepped out at the 20. They need to get just shy, actually, of the 18. A real long 1 yard coming up here.
This is no gimme, because Wabash has tried to run the ball a couple times in the early going, and there has been nothing. And they're not typically a run-oriented team. Coach Creighton said before the game they wanted to try to run the ball. But really in this situation, you may, even though it's 4th and 1.5, maybe 2 tops, you might see him throw the football.
Well, they're taking a timeout to think this over. They're not a team that relies on their field goal kicking either. So it's they have a 1 field goal this year around 24 yards. So they're not a team that's an automatic at this stage.
No, and that's what I said a second ago. I think you'll see Chris Creighton go for it on 4th and short a lot today if they're in that situation. And Rob, to your point about the lack of a running game early, Coach Creighton said yesterday they needed about 4 yards per rush on their inside zone running attack to feel as if they were establishing the run the way they wanted to, and clearly they haven't done that yet. And I agree with you. I would not be surprised if we see some sort of quick hitch or quick slant here on 4th and short.
And you may see this as one of the signature plays of the game. DePauw gets a stop here, and that's a big momentum changer. They don't get a stop, and Wabash now looking, first down to the 20-yard line.
Huge play early here in the 114th Monon Bell on their 2nd series. Wabash going for it on 4th and 2 down to the 20 of DePauw. Hudson throwing and out of reach, intended for Mike Russell, incomplete. DePauw has held, and good defense by Reed Shearer, the 5'10 senior from Muncie.
Now you look here, just a brief little rollout, pulls back up and tries to hit him out in the flat, and Reed Shearer was right there on the coverage. Excellent job by the DePauw defense to smell that out. They weren't going to go downfield for a 15-yard pass, and he was right there tight on him. And those are the kind of stops you need down there.
Well, they got excellent field position after an interception. We're not able to capitalize on it, and on the 2nd series for DePauw, they'll try it right up the middle, and this time everyone's there to meet them for Wabash.
The first down place.
And Marks once again carrying the ball and picking up nothing on that one. It'll bring up a 2nd and 10. Let's go back down to Natalie.
Hey guys, well, I am here with the infamous bell and the bell ringer. See, the garters of this bell for during the game is the Sphinx Club from Wabash, and you can obviously tell they're easy to spot in a crowd. And this bell, You are going to hear it the entire game. And let me tell you, I rang it yesterday, and this thing's heavy.
About 300 pounds worth is hauling that pass in is Brian Mulligan. Mulligan, a breakout game last season. He caught 4 big passes for 89 yards against Wabash when Spud Dick and company trying to mount a frantic comeback, and Mulligan, the freshman then, was his key man. So Mulligan hauls this one in, picks up 4 on the catch, and it's 3rd down and 6 at the 24.
That's a good second down play. Make this 3rd down a little more manageable.
3 receivers go out to the left. Dick looking over the middle, complete. Mulligan, 1st down, DePauw. Moves it up to the 36.
Little 5-step drop this time, and this time they go right over the middle. And nice little catch and pitch there. That's what you want to do. Mulligan for the 1st down.
Mulligan coming into this game, 54 receptions, over 700 yards. Hauled in 3 touchdown passes, and he's made a couple of big catches here already. 1st and 10 at the 35 for DePauw. Once again, moving well. A turnover ended the first drive. Flag is thrown as they run it up the middle. And this one is going against Wabash.
Offside penalty against the Little Giants. That's their 3rd of the 1st quarter already.
Take another look at it as they moved into that neutral territory.
Looks like maybe Daryl Kennan, who shifted out to the left defensive end, may have been in the neutral zone before the snap.
That play's not going to go in the stat book, but that's the first time they've got Jeremiah Marks going a little bit there. Nice hole. That's a good sign for the DePauw offense.
The penalty picks up 5 yards, stays 1st down, 1st and 5, ball up to the 40 of DePauw. Horrocks, the tight end, shifts over to the right. Marks up the middle, tripped up but leans forward and picks up an extra yard. Gain of 5. It's going to be real close to the 1st down.
You got a chance to see there Marks really demonstrate what kind of runner he is. There wasn't a whole lot of room. He has good lateral movement. He steps in, steps out, kind of like Joseph Adai does when you watch the Colts. Step in and out of traffic and always moving forward.
The numbers on Marks coming into this game certainly would have been over 1,000 yards had he not missed those 3 games. And on 2nd down, Marks will pick up the 1st down with ease. Jeremiah Marks, 6'2", 207-pound senior out of Glen Ellen, Illinois, talking with A.D. Pennenberg yesterday. He said, Marks finds holes that a lot of guys don't. You think that you're going to stop this particular hole, but Marks will come right on through it.
Yeah, you've seen that a little bit today. These holes have not been huge, but he moves laterally well in small spaces, and he's always moving forward. He's a very strong runner as well.
1st and 10 up to the 47 for DePauw. Remember, they had a very good opening drive that was stopped by an interception. They'll keep it on the ground again. Big hole this time, and now into Wabash territory is Jeremiah Marks.
Well, they just put a little fake draw there, and Marks right up the middle again. Cleared some good, that little pass look in there, just froze the defense just enough to create a big hole. As impressive as this is right now, DePauw moving the ball, the added bonus here for them is that Wabash's offense is not on the field. And as productive as they've been this year, that's a very strong point for the Tigers.
1st and 10 at the 46 of Wabash. Spud Dick firing it out. Monon has it out in the flat, working one-on-one, gets around his man and picks up yards down the sideline. 1st down and then some for Brian Mulligan. Good run after the catch.
Well, there's an old saying, keep it simple, stupid. And a little 3-step hitch there, and turns that into a 10, 15-yard gain. Really, you don't have to be too complicated to be successful in offense. You take your successes in small measures And Mulligan here just makes a couple of very nice moves, breaks the tackle, and that's the kind of thing that can happen any play.
Got that stiff arm in on Thomas Bell. Peterman had to come in the free safety to help finally bring him down. 4 receptions, 38 yards already for Mulligan. 1st and 10 down to 34. Marks spinning around, still always moving forward. He's a north-south guy even when he's hit.
That's one of the things that Neil Nethery, the Wabash defensive coordinator, always says about Jeremiah Marks. Unlike virtually any running back at this level he sees, Marks simply does not lose yardage.
It's interesting looking at the numbers. Marks will carry the ball in a half more than any Wabash ball carrier will for the whole game.
Yeah, it's just reflective of the difference in offensive philosophy.
A pickup of 8 down to the 32. Pickup of 2, rather. It's 2nd and 8. Again, the pass complete. Horrocks, the tight end, hauling in his first catch of the day.
You know what happens when the defense starts to inch up and your linebackers are bunching up to stop the run. What happens is that tight end loses free right up the seam. Exactly what you saw here. Once again, very simple, quick 3-step drop. Get the ball out there. Let your receiver run with the ball. All of that's predicated from the success they've had in the running game.
And that moves the chains again. It's 1st and 10 down to the 22. Deepest penetration of the game for either team. DePauw on the move. Marks outside with some room. Spinning his way down close to the 10 is Jeremiah Marks.
We saw a nice little burst of speed there in addition to the power running. And here just a nice little off-tackle play, and Jeremiah breaks that to the outside, shows some wheels, and then runs over the last tackler.
Thomas Bell eventually brings him down after Marks picks up 12 on that and takes it down right around the 10-yard line. This is going to be a 1st and goal at the 10. DePauw is knocking, and they go again to Marks, but nowhere to go that time. Great player meet great player. A.D. Pennenberg shoots through to bring down Marks.
A.D. Pennenberg became the school's all-time leading tackler last week in the 42-0 victory over Denison. And here he makes a fine play, wrapping up Marks and dropping him for a loss. Pennenberg is not a spectacular linebacker. He will not make spectacular bone-crunching tackles, but he is as technically sound as any linebacker you'll see at this level, and he simply doesn't miss tackles.
No pickup on that. 2nd and goal at the 10. 2:45 to go here in this first. Flips it out again out to Mulligan. No room that time as he is smothered and run out of bounds.
Nice job by Thomas Bell there. He was burned the last time they ran that hitch to Mulligan. This time he stayed in his technique, did not let the receiver get around him, and made a nice tackle.
Bell, the senior out of Dallas, Texas, one of those guys playing with an injury. He's had a fractured thumb that had to be repaired this year. Both sides with injuries you could talk about. Wabash has had a bunch of injuries. You can go down the list. They have 2 guys scheduled for ACLs who've missed this season because of that. That's coming up next week. Here it is, a big play. Pickup of 2 on that. It is 3rd and goal from the 8 for Wabash, for DePauw. Dick rolling out, throwing in the end zone, and it's almost intercepted. Knocked down, almost picked up by Matt Kraft. Or was that Richard Rooms coming up? The senior out of South Bend knocks it down.
Just a design roll here for Dick, and Richard Rooms was able to step in front and knock it down. He almost picked it off. You see stepping right there in front of the receiver to make the play. Rooms, a senior from South Bend, one of the real big presence guys in the locker room for this Wabash team, a real senior leader for this ball club.
Alex Kors actually had his man beat back there, the freshman receiver from Indianapolis, but he just couldn't get to it in time.
So now, Brandon Smith will try it from 25 yards, and it is good. No good, rather. No good. Sailing off, and so the score remains 0-0. As DePauw has a great drive, but they missed the field goal.
That is a big stop for this Wabash defense. The offense had it rolling and then turned it over on downs. DePauw moving the ball virtually at will against this defense, and then the stop against Marks and the breakup in the end zone led to the missed field goal, but he just pushed it right. And Kenny and Rob, today we are not going to see a clinic in place kicking from either of these two teams.
No. You know what, though? That drive tells you something there, because A.D. Pinnenberg making that play, he really made that stop, that first down play. And you need your studs to have a big game in these big games, and he did it. He picked them up. I think he's responsible for that stop.
13 plays, 73 yards, but they come up short, just wide to the right slightly, and now Wabash comes on the attack for the third time, and once again, they start off a series by keeping it on the ground, and C.P. Porter, the 5'6" freshman out of Indianapolis, carries it.
You are looking at what many people believe is the future of the Wabash running game. C.P. Porter, a freshman from Indianapolis, Ben Davis. He averages 5.9 yards per carry versus 4.1 yards per carry for the starter, Evan Sebecki. Chris Creighton has rotated these backs, used them evenly. He said yesterday, though, that today he will ride the hot hand at running back. Don't be surprised if that hot hand becomes C.P. Porter.
2nd and 4 after that 6-yard pickup by Porter. Pass out, complete to Mike Russell.
Russell is one of the best athletes in the North Coast Athletic Conference. He is a 2-time champion in the 100-meter dash. He anchors the 2-time 4x100-meter relay championship team for the Little Giants. And he is finally back to 100% after that foot injury we mentioned earlier. And he's already had 4 catches today. He will continue to be Matt Hudson's #1 target.
He has moved over 500 yards now on this season. Over 2,200 in his career, picking up the first down out to the 31. Handoff, Porter again. Dances his way across the left side out to around the 37. One of those little scat backs.
You can see he has a little extra burst of speed that the other Wabash backs don't have. Now you can see he is not a big guy. He's not a guy who can run up between the tackles 20 times a game the way DePauw does with Marks, but he's a guy you can get to the edges on those outside zone running plays, and if he gets to the corner untouched, he can make the cut and get upfield.
C.P. Porter, the 5'6", 185-pound freshman, picking up 6 on that one. 2nd and 4 out to the 37. Under a minute to go here in the first quarter. No score between Wabash with the ball, playing against DePauw once again. Graham hauls this one in and gets up across the 40, tripped and leans forward. And Brock Graham, good momentum after the catch.
Brock Graham, sophomore, plays a position in Chris Creighton's offense called the J-back. It's sort of a hybrid tight end fullback. He'll see a lot of catches. In fact, he was the team's leading receiver coming in today. He'll also get the ball on short yardage running plays, and he is a very versatile weapon. And Robin Kenny, it's interesting, Wabash opened with something different. The 2 tight end set. Last 2 drives, they've gone back to their bread and butter. 1 tight end, J-back, double slots, and they've moved the ball going back to what they normally do.
It's always hard to change what you do for one game.
Under pressure is Hudson. Steps up, firing deep. It's complete. Russell hauls it in, down inside the 5.
What a play by Matt Hudson. Michael McNeilis was right in his face. Looked like he was going to sack Hudson. He spun not once but twice to avoid it. We'll see it here on the replay. Just a terrific athletic move from the 6'6" sophomore. There's one spin, there's the second, and then he just launches a bomb downfield to Russell. That is just a terrific play in the pocket by Matt Hudson.
49 yards on that as you see Russell laying out just ahead of Reed Shearer to make this catch, haul it in, and they will mark it down right outside the 5-yard line, and that is the end of the first quarter. Wabash is knocking on the door as we get ready for the second quarter of this 114th Monon Bell. And you wonder now about DePauw, after coming so close, missing on that field goal, and coming right back as Wabash to move as effectively as they have, 75 yards so far. More action coming up when we come back to Blackstock Stadium. Once again, this great catch by Russell has put the Little Giants close to the scoreboard. Kenny Rice, Joe Emmick, Rob Doyle, and Natalie Taylor here in Greencastle, Indiana. DePauw and Wabash meeting for the Monon Bell. And it is Wabash knocking on the door, 1st and goal at the 5. And carrying it down close to the goal line is that Porter. and he's going to be just about a yard short, or maybe even less than that.
Little delay. Started to go up the middle, made a nice shift to get up behind the right guard, Craig Morrison. And again, you can just see Porter has just a little bit extra athletic ability and a little bit more quickness to get up into the hole.
He has come in and been very effective here in this early going of the game. And here it is, 2nd and goal, about a yard to go. Hudson, inside handoff, Graham. DePauw saying they stopped him. We're waiting for the official indication. It appears they have. Graham has led the team with 9 touchdowns, 4 catches, and 5 of those rushing. And now it is a huge 3rd down play.
Oh, is this 2-down territory for Coach Creighton?
It might be. That'll be a very interesting call for him. I would not be surprised at all if it is, if they don't get it in here on 3rd down.
Essentially an extra point.
3rd and goal. Again, it's Graham and Porter in the backfield. Hudson is going to keep it and stroll in untouched. Matt Hudson with a beautiful fake, and Wabash is up 6-0.
That was just a terrific run fake by Matt Hudson. He rode the ball with the running back long enough to freeze the defense, and he really had 2 options there. I think the first option on this play, you'll see the play fake, and then he rolls out to the right. They actually had Scott Liska, the tight end, chip the linebacker and then flare out into the corner. You can see him right there in front of Hudson. I think that was the original play, and then Hudson looked up and realized he could just run it in himself.
That was a stroll in the park. Great play call.
Drew Ayler, who is 10 for 10 on the extra point, makes it 11 for 11, and it's now 7-0 in favor of Wabash. The Little Giants trying to complete an unbeaten season. They have taken the lead here in the 114th Monon Bell. As you see the fans who have made the journey only 27 miles from Crawfordsville wearing the red and white, and they have a lot to cheer about right now. That 80-yard drive after the missed field goal by DePauw, Wabash comes storming back. Let's go down now to Natalie with the man who probably is not real happy at this time after that score.
Well, might not be happy, but seeing a good game. I'm here with the president of the University of DePauw, Mr. Robert Bottoms. Robert, the first thing I want to talk to you about is you've really made this campus very diverse, kind of a mirror, so to speak, of the global community. Talk a little bit about doing that before your title change in June.
Sure. Well, we worked very hard to recruit domestic minority students and international students. Last year, we were 15% minority and another 6% or 7% international students. So we do, as you suggest, we think, mirror the world in which we live, the world community.
And Dr. Bottoms is becoming a chancellor here in June after the academic year. But here we are, exciting game already. What's this compared to the other Bell games you've seen?
Well, they're all very close and they're all this exciting. Sometimes you have a wide variety at the beginning and things get close toward the end. We hope to come back and tie the game up.
There's the plan from the head man himself. Kenny, back to you.
All right, thanks, Natalie. Wabash now kicking it off. Gaspera and Bonner back to receive. And it's Gaspera who will pick it up around the 20. Out to the 31, and that's where DePauw will start. See if they can answer after that 8-play, 80-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 6 seconds to put Wabash up 7-0 on Hudson's keeper.
And Kenny and Rob, the Wabash running attack completely different with C.P. Porter in the game. And you saw in the touchdown play why Coach Creighton wanted to establish the run. They were able to run it successfully on that drive, ran 2 plays into the line, and then set up Hudson's touchdown run with the run action to Porter.
Now, he's definitely a change of pace. He's different than what we've seen from Wabash in some time, and I think he definitely changed the complexion of the game. The big key for DePauw here is they really got a flag here.
Yeah, offside on the kicking team. That was Wabash. Will they have them kick it once again after that 15-yard return by Gaspera?
I think they will.
And it appears that that will be the case. See some of those Mohawks, some, not all, but A.D. Pennenberg certainly had one and said yesterday he was going to make sure a lot of his team did. That is the Monon Mohawk. Happens once a year. They shave the sides of their head. Something we'll contemplate at halftime.
I think that'd be a good look for Joe.
And Taylor tees it up, and he will kick it once again, moving it back to the 25. Wobbly kick that goes out of bounds, and so with that, they do pick up some yardage as it sails out around the 45, somewhere between the 45 and 40. We'll see where they mark it. And so it pays off an additional yardage for DePauw by having them do it once again. Well, they're moving this up now closer to midfield, it looks like, as we look at the field judge there, who's standing at around the 48. Of course, it's right in front of the DePauw sideline, so they're getting plenty of assistance over there.
You know, field position is so important for this DePauw offense. They're going to grind it out.
By the 5-yard penalty from the spot where the ball went out of bounds. First down.
They want to move the ball on the ground and be methodical in their offense, and when you've got good field position, that's just another 20, 30 yards they don't have to march. So that's a big advantage.
Well, what a pickup here we have on the kickoff. I mean, we talk about special teams and turnovers. They had to re-kick and then a penalty after that. And so DePauw begins this drive in Wabash territory at the 46-yard line. As you look at the numbers today, 6 for 8 so far for Spud Dick. A big interception, though, to stop the first drive for the Tigers. Marks, strong off the right side, takes it down to the 42.
It's a good little first down play. Get Jeremiah Marks going for about 4 yards, and those are the small victories they like to make on first down. I think one of these times you may see him do a little play action on that first down and go deep. They look like they're setting that up at some point.
Picks up 4, brings up 2nd and 6. Wabash averaging about 160 yards rushing. Of course, Marks accounts for most of that. And Marks once again fights hard for the yardage, but then that's kind of redundant. That's the way he has played for 4 years, is why he is atop just about every rushing record in DePauw's 100-plus years of playing football.
Well, it sets up 3rd and short, which is right where they like to be. That nice little short 3-step passing game. You've got Marks. They've got 2 tight ends in the game. They got freshman Mark Brannigan in the game now, too. I actually coached Mark and Alex Coors in grade school. Another freshman receiver, number 9, that plays quite a bit. So these guys are getting early indoctrination into the Monon Bell game.
3rd and 3. Fires it out. Gaspera tries to cut down the sideline and pick up that first down, and he has done so.
And when you have 3rd and 3, you can throw that quick little hitch pass. And there again, just a quick little 3-step and get it out there and let him run for the first down. And those small measures, methodical offense, that's exactly what Coach Walker wants to do.
Thomas Bell, the one that brings him down after the pickup for the first down to the 34-yard line. Remember, DePauw had a big drive early, stopped by an interception. Another big drive that got it down inside the 10. They tried for a 25-yard field goal and just missed wide right on that. And again, it's Marks, big hole up the middle, and Marks shoots his way down to around the 25-yard line.
You know, talking to Coach Walker this week, one of the things he brought up was the strength of their offensive line, just how good they were compared to some of the offensive lines here. And when you look here at the replay, there's just a tremendous push here. As the game goes on, that push seems to be getting better and better, and that really then sets up so many other things in their offense.
Marks picks up 8 at 2nd and 2, ball at the 26. Marks again, first down and more. Inside the 20, down to around the 15. Jeremiah Marks taking over now on this series.
Well, there's a lot to be said for doing what you do well and sticking with it. Don't get outside of yourself, and that can be real tough when teams running the ball on you and you can't stop them. There again, you're getting a nice push off the line of scrimmage, and Jeremiah's probably got 4, 5, 6 yards down the field before he's got a white hat on him.
Picks up 9. It's 1st and 10 at the 16. DePauw DePauw has been this close before, actually closer, to no avail. This time Marks carrying it again, almost to the 10-yard line. Talking to Marks yesterday and asked him an obvious question. He said one that was asked many times earlier in the week, and he hadn't really thought about it since Monday or Tuesday. This is the last time that he's going to step on the Blackstone Stadium and play in a football game for DePauw. And he said it really hit him more at the practice on Wednesday night when the seniors had their deal in the end zone as tradition. Right. They were in there talking about it afterwards. Said it really has sunk in then on this 2nd and 5 ball down to the 11. Marks again, nowhere to go this time.
As the Monon Bell week moves on, you start to hit that realization that your 4-year career here ends. You're talking about some really fine young men who've worked really hard over the course of 4 years, and it's real special to play here and play in this game at both schools. And when you see that come to an end, it hits you pretty hard. And fortunately for Wabash, no matter what happens today, their seniors will extend their season by at least a week.
It's now 3rd and 5 at the 11 after that stop. Another big down here for Spud, Dick and company. Receivers to both sides. Dick looking, throwing, complete, Mulligan, touchdown. Brian Mulligan hauling in his 4th touchdown of the season, and DePauw is on the board.
Well, just like DePauw, Wabash does pretty much the same thing what they normally do on defense. And there's a nice little coverage match up there in that cover 3. Quick slant over the middle, was hit very well on time. Bud Dick delivers the ball right where it needs to be, right on time. And when you do that, you're usually successful.
And now the point after. And it's good to tie the score at 7 with 9:07 to go. And putting that one through was Gary Wright, the defensive lineman, who comes in as the kicker and knots it up at 7 apiece. Let's go to Natalie.
Hey guys, how can we not talk about Jeremiah Marks after that impressive play there? You know, the thing about Jeremiah is he got on campus his freshman year, and after setting so many records this year, he set those records back when he arrived on campus. He got on, looked on the website, and here he is setting the career rushing and scoring records for this team.
And DePauw coming back, answering in what almost was a must situation. You were kind of getting the feeling after twice being stopped by an interception, missing a field goal, and seeing that great drive by Wabash. They respond, 8 plays, 46 yards, taking advantage of the field position handed to them. And it took only 4 minutes and 8 seconds with 31 yards rushing done by Jeremiah Marks in that drive, capped off by the touchdown pass to Mulligan.
Wabash cannot give DePauw a short field like that. They only had to go 46 yards, and really a disastrous exchange on that kickoff after the touchdown. They made 2 huge mistakes. They were offside on the first kick, and then Drew Ayler with an inexplicable kickoff. We didn't get to talk much about it at the time, but just a bizarre kickoff out of bounds, and that was a disaster for the Little Giants.
Smith sends it sailing down to Gabe Guerrero, who brings it out across the 30, and that's where Wabash will go on the attack. As you look at Guerrero, 5'11", 180-pound senior out of Pleasanton, Texas. He's been plagued this year by groin injuries, back problems. He's one of the top receivers, has 6 touchdown receptions this season. And this is an offense that spreads it around, as we've talked about. They have 5 receivers with at least 4 touchdown catches on this Wabash team. That 23-yard return by Guerrero, good field position for Wabash to start at the 32. Look there at Chris Creighton. He's won 5 out of 6 Monon Bell games. Hudson to pass and gets his completion. Nice play once again by Hudson. He hits his man Brock Graham, who's almost automatic, isn't he, Joe? You've seen this guy all season long, and he seems like everything in the vicinity of Graham he hauls in.
He catches everything. He blocks everybody. He gets positive yardage every time he runs the ball. He's really a terrific weapon and just a sophomore. So he has a bright future ahead for this Little Giant football program.
He picks up 5 on that. 2nd and 5 now. Ball moved up to the 37. Hudson will hand off inside. Porter gets up close to the 40 before being pushed back. Wow, this kid gets there quick, doesn't he?
He does. He is very fast on his first step. A nice hole right there. And he manages to get some positive yardage. And again, much like Jeremiah Marks, C.P. Porter is going to get positive yardage almost every time he touches the ball. He's averaging nearly 6 yards per carry coming in today.
They give him 3 on that. Here it is, 3rd and 2 at the 40 of Wabash. DePauw faithful standing up here at Blackstock Stadium, hoping for a big stop. Liska moving over to the right side, the tight end. Inside handoff, and it appears a first down for Wabash.
That was Brock Graham, the J-back we mentioned earlier. He is the team's leading receiver, but will also get the call on short yardage situations. They motioned Liska, the tight end, from the left to the right, and then just ran up right behind Liska, the extra blocker, Jeremy Morris, the right tackle, and Skip Tokar, the right guard.
I think Tokar's been healthy most of the season, hasn't he? They've had to mix match everybody else, it seems, on that front line, offensive line, which has yielded only 14 sacks now after 1 today.
The offensive line's been a good story for this team. At one point, Kenny, in training camp, none of the 5 projected starters were in uniform due to injuries. Even now, there are 2 young men who are projected starters who haven't played a down due to injury. It has been a long season for the Little Giants. You and I were in the athletic department yesterday, and you were talking to our head trainer, Mark Colston, and I joked he would probably get as much airplay as any trainer in the country today because of all the injuries the Little Giants have
He might become
had.
the most valuable man by the end of the season. There you look at Tokar, the 310-pound sophomore out of Zionville, Indiana. We talked earlier about Niemeyer, the very talented center. He's played all season with a stress fracture in his right foot, but hasn't slowed down. And of course, you saw the measurement. It is a first down out to the 42. So 1st and 10 here. A fresh set of downs coming up for Matt Hudson and company. Ray Green back in. He's at the bottom of your screen. Hudson floating it out there and out of reach of Mike Russell. Russell in double coverage, couldn't bring it in.
It's a well-designed play there. They just run a little fade run to the cover 2, but you got to put that one in there on a rope. You can't float that ball there. It gives the safety time to get there.
And that's another flaw. There are very few flaws in Matt Hudson's game, but that's another flaw. He does have a tendency to float balls. And again, if he had thrown that one with a little more zip, he may have had a chance to complete it. Though I don't think it's going to matter. There's a flag down on the play, and it looks like it's against the Little Giants.
Yeah, Chris Creighton, as you saw there, with a few things to say. Now let's hear what the official word is.
No foul on the play. All players were set before the ball was snapped.
I imagine some of these formations of the Little Giants keep the officiating teams on their toes throughout the course of the year.
Although we're seeing more motion from the Little Giants today than we typically see. They will throw a lot of formations at you, a lot of spread formations, but rarely do they run as much motion as we've seen in the first half today.
2nd and 10 at the 42. To look at Matt Hudson. Just a remarkable season, stepping in for the injured Dustin Huff, who had 1 great game and sadly had his career ended with an ankle injury. Stepping back is Hudson under pressure again, stepping up, and he's going to carry it. Cross midfield, look at him go as he gets down to the 39-yard line. Who knew? Matt Hudson, the 6'6 sophomore, tucking it in and taking off with it.
One of the things Wabash folks were concerned about when Dustin Huff went down was the loss of athleticism in the pocket. Dustin Huff is about 5'10", 5'11", plays a lot like Donovan McNabb. But as you see here and as you saw in the Little Giant touchdown earlier, Hudson's not particularly graceful or athletic, but he can make good decisions and he can get you some positive yards with his legs.
Over 20 on that carry. It is 1st and 10 down to the 40. That's the longest carry of the season for Matt Hudson. Porter, the lone running back. Play action. Again, going over the middle, deep, has his man down to the 2-yard line. That's Mike Russell making a terrific catch once again. Russell hauling it in and knocking on the door once more, Wabash.
Once again, the Little Giants go deep off run action, and you see the importance of getting the running game established. Hudson freezes the defenders. He has single coverage downfield, and this time throws a beautiful deep ball and hits Russell right in stride to set up first down and goal to go. That entire play set up by selling out the run action at the start.
Robert Abbott, the sophomore from Champaign, Illinois, saving the touchdown there. 38-yard pass takes it down to the 2, first and goal. Hudson has Graham and Porter in the backfield. Porter. Right side, touchdown. The freshman from Indianapolis has put Wabash back in front.
And that is a very important drive for this Wabash offense. After the special team mistakes that shortened the field for DePauw, they come right down and move the ball right down the field like clockwork. And C.P. Porter again coming in to spell Evan Sebecki with a couple of nice runs early to set up the run action. And now here, just a straightforward playoff right tackle for the touchdown.
And Drew Ayler will try again, and once again come through. 12 for 12 on the season, 14-7 now. Wabash back in front. Beautiful drive, 2 big plays, both created by Matt Hudson. First off, doing it with his feet of over 20 yards, and then that 38-yard pass down to Mike Russell that set up a first and goal at the 2 before C.P. Porter caps it off. 7 plays, 68 yards, 2:32 of clock taken by Wabash in that scoring drive. That's the thing impressive about the Little Giants. You give them a couple of 3 minutes, they're going to put some points on the board.
This has been a big play offense all year. They average 32 points per game coming in. They have been a big play offense. They have 14 offensive plays or 40 yards or more this season. And after this play, 37 that have gone for more than 25 yards. They can strike very quickly.
And again, some of the fans going with their Monon Mohawks as well. Now, it was a terrible time for Ayler the last time he kicked off. Kicked out of bounds, then another kicked offside rather, and then he had to kick again. It goes out of bounds. There was a penalty on it. Great field position for DePauw was the end result. See what happens this time around. Gaspera back deep to return. Gaspera at the 15, across the 20. Trying to get outside for some room, cuts back, nice return here, still leaning forward and gets out to around the 35-yard line.
Nice return by Gaspera. He looked like he was stopped and put together 6 or 7 extra yards there just on sheer effort. And that's what you see in games like this, particularly guys on the DePauw side today since it's their last game. These guys are going to give everything they have, reach down as far as they can, and he had looked like he was stopped a couple times. Just a very nice couple cuts and kept his feet moving and north and south.
Gaspera returning that 23 yards. DePauw this year averaging right around 19 yards per kickoff return. You look at Matt Walker and the Tigers sideline, and Spud Dick and company going to work now from their own 35. Marks carrying it, flag is thrown. Marks pushing it ahead up close to the 40. We'll see what the flag is.
Coach, please talk to me. What is the problem? Coach, that's not what we
Perhaps you can hear as we're listening in on.
We are seated next to the DePauw coaches, and a little frustration apparently over that last drive. Does that sound like those Chittard High School conversations on Friday night?
Illegal formation on the offense. 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Other than number 1 ranked St. X in Cincinnati, I haven't seen anybody move the ball on us quite that quick. So
let's count them up right here, and you see only 6 are set.
Well, that's a big unfortunate penalty there because Marks, again, got a nice first down play, got 6 or 7 yards. 1st and 15 is really not where you want to be in this offense.
Yeah, back to the 30-yard line, DePauw. Brent Claxton in the backfield along with Marks. Marks gets it and finds no room this time.
They try to give a little different look there with a split backfield, maybe to show like they were going to throw the ball, and went back, almost a little draw play. But Wabash defensive lineman really snuffed that out pretty good.
Josh Gangloff, junior defensive tackle, made that stop. Gangloff has been out the last 2 weeks because of an injury. Had a sore knee the last couple of weeks and back in there and made a fine tackle on Marks.
Kind of a typical day so far for Jeremiah Marks. He is a workhorse, 16 carries already, 66 yards. Lost a yard on that one. It is 2nd and 16 at the 29. Dick to throw. Flips it out in the backfield to Marks. And Marks, who does have a touchdown reception this year among his 13 TDs, picks up some of the yards back, gets about 6 back to bring up a 3rd and 10 up to the 35.
When you have a player of that stature, you try to find different ways to get him the ball, not get him beat up, pounding up the middle of the field all the time. And that's a key 2nd down play. Now you've got a little more manageable 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and 15.
Dick, so far 9 out of 11. Coming off a terrific game against Austin, had 322 passing yards, a career high, and 5 touchdowns. It ties a school record. Dick throwing over the middle, complete out to midfield. Brian Mulligan hauls it in. Beautiful on-the-money pass from Spud Dick to Brian Mulligan, the sophomore tandem that they've been excited about all season here at DePauw.
They just put a couple receivers out there, almost a stack look, and they both slanted in. Spud finds the outside receiver Mulligan. Very nice read. Nice little 3rd down play.
Little Giants have a terrific 4-man front and a great pass rush, especially with Daryl Kennan, who has 12.5 sacks. But that 3-step drop has completely neutralized that Wabash pass rush.
That was a big 3rd down play now on 1st and 10, carrying it down to around the 45. You want to take a guess? As you see, moving in on the tackle was Kraft. Even Jeremiah Marks, if he doesn't get about 25, 26, 30 carries a game, it's a bad day for him.
Even when he looks like he doesn't get anything, you look at, they move the marker and it's 4 yards. He's always moving north and south, which is what you want your running backs to do.
Yeah, as we talked about, you look in the record book, and Jeremiah Marks, the all-time leading rusher, the all-time leading scorer. He's had more touchdowns in a season, more running yards in a season. He's done about everything you could ever ask for in a running back. Picks up 4 there to make it 2nd and 6. Flips it out in the flat to Mulligan. Mulligan double teamed and pushed out of bounds. Thomas Bell right there, number 28.
There again, the 3-step drop. As you said, Joe, keeping Wabash's defensive lineman out of the picture. DePauw went to that little stack look again, which puts you 2 receivers out on 1 cornerback in Wabash's cover 3 look. And so that gives them a little bit of a matchup advantage. And again, now you have 3rd and short, which is a much better situation for DePauw.
We see on 3rd down conversions, DePauw 4 out of 5. On 3rd and 4 at the 43 of Wabash. Spud Dick has had a very solid first half. Under pressure. Throwing back against the grain to Marks. Marks, 1st down and more, down to the 30. Good poise by Spud Dick, and when in doubt, go to one of the best in Jeremiah Marks, who hauls in his 2nd catch and picks up the 1st down.
Well, this is Wabash finally got a little pressure on Spud Dick this time, but he was shifty enough, he's poised enough in the pocket to get outside. And we've seen Matt Hudson do the same thing. When they get outside of that pass rush, receivers tend to break wide open, and that's when you have big plays.
1st down, down to the 30. 12th 1st down for DePauw. They've moved the ball well. An interception and a missed field goal on 2 occasions before the touchdown. And again, it is Jeremiah Marks just right up the middle, right around 5 yards, down to the 25-yard line. Great look at the camera there. Number 31 is Marks. Number 40 is Pennenberg. Two players that we've talked about a lot today, and deservedly so. You see the numbers on A.D. Pennenberg in his great career, an All-American career, as he and the Little Giants get ready to move on to the playoffs next week. Right now, having their hands full as expected with DePauw on 2nd and 5 at the 25. Marks gets outside, inside the 15. Jeremiah Marks, another huge effort.
Coach Walker really has to be impressed and pleased with his offensive line play, because I have not seen an offensive line dominate the initial line of scrimmage in this game for some time like this. Just really good push. Jeremiah Marks makes a great cut to the outside again, and all of a sudden now you've got first down just inside the 15-yard line.
Thomas Bell had to wrestle him down after that pickup of 9. It is 1st and 10 at the 14. Marks again, up the middle, thin some, inside the 5, finally brought down. Marks just ripped right up the middle, and Peterman is there to bring him down. It'll be 1st and goal for DePauw.
It's a nice little ISO play right up the middle. They're winning the battle up front, and looks like the Wabash defensive linemen get a little tired out there. That takes a lot of effort to come in and try to stop that run.
Approaching 100 yards on 1st and goal at the 3. He is stopped hard that time. And time to celebrate is right there was Joshua Gangloff, the 260-pound junior out of Lawrenceburg.
Wabash hasn't been able to get a hat on Marks often. This is one of the few times, and it's a big one, as Gangloff makes a great tackle there to drive Marks back.
2nd and goal at the 3. Marks. No room on that right side. They try to push the pile forward. He might have squeezed another yard and a half, but it's going to be up a 3rd and goal.
Rob, you mentioned the Little Giant defensive line showing some fatigue. This is, I don't know what DePauw has done with its offensive line play coming into today. This is, without question, the best offensive line Wabash has seen this season.
You know, I think Coach Walker got it right. We talked this week, and he really expected that to happen. He was very confident with what his offensive line could do with the competition they had seen this year, and he really thought that they would be able to run the football and that they had to run the football to win the game. And that was a theme for them this week, and that coupled with the short passing game, Spud Dick has been right on the money. He's hit his routes and kept the ball moving. It looks like their offense looks in terms of small successes, successive successes that make sense, and keep the clock running, keep Wabash's offense off the field, get that defensive line tired, and pile up first downs and touchdowns maybe. But I'll tell you, Wabash has done a great job, and they've gotten down close to stuff things, and they stuffed them on that first drive, then they missed the field goal. If DePauw doesn't score here, there's only 27.5 seconds left. It's a 14-7 game in Wabash's favor, so DePauw needs to score here.
We'll see what Matt Walker, after that conference with Spud Dick, has decided on 3rd and goal at the 2. Fakes a handoff, play action, flips it out. Met at the goal line is Brent Claxton, and he does not get in. What a defensive play by Wabash. The fullback, Brent Claxton, all 235 pounds, coming out of the backfield. There he gets it, and look at this. Who else? A.D. Pennenberg comes up to save the touchdown.
That is a tackle right out of a clinic. He lowers his shoulder, stays in his technique, and just drives the ball carrier back right at the goal line. A.D. Pennenberg has made 2 great goal line plays in this game. One in early in the first quarter when he stopped Marks for a loss, and right here stopping DePauw at the goal line. As I said earlier, he's not the kind of player that's going to make sort of a Ray Lewis explosive bone-rattling tackle. He's just going to make a good, technically sound tackle and never miss one. And that was as good as it gets for A.D.
That's going to be in the highlight film. Pennenberg is giving up about 23 pounds to Claxton. Pennenberg's about 213, a very solid 213. But as you say there, Rob, that's a load that Brent Claxton is, and he was catching it and turned, and to stop him on a dime like Pennenberg, that will be among his great highlights, I believe, especially Joe being in a Monon Bell game.
That was a big time play.
Well, here it is. with 13 seconds to go in this first half. Can DePauw get it in on 4th and goal at the 1? Dick under center. Fakes to Marks, throws incomplete. Wabash has held. Wabash has stopped DePauw. As you see Joshua Gangloff there and company celebrating. And that was a huge defensive play. And we have a flag on the play.
DePauw guys seem to think it's on Wabash. Nope.
Let's see the call.
There's no foul on the play. The ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. First down, Wabash.
And yeah, we'll take another look at that there. If there was any doubt about pass interference, it's tipped at the line right here. And I believe that was big number 93, Gangloff, who got a hand on it. And that was all she wrote on that series. So once again, it is DePauw going in the red zone. And for the second time today, they come up empty. 14-7, Wabash leading. 10 seconds to go here in the first half.
They can't take a knee.
Well, you know, certainly would never second guess a coach, but they had 4th and inches, and you got Jeremiah Marks in the backfield. Go with the one that brung you.
And there you see a penalty flag is going to be thrown now against Matt Walker, who was having a long and very, well, we're guessing vocal. We saw a lot of hand gestures. It was certainly animated with the officials, and a personal foul now is going to be assessed to DePauw.
And Rob, we probably don't want to
Sideline
make too much.
versus DePauw. First warning.
Okay, it's a warning.
They still got 10 in the game, right? Number 10.
I was going to say that could have been big for DePauw.
I thought he threw the flag. Did he not throw a flag?
He did, but it was a warning flag on the sideline, and you are entitled to one warning. Matt's really upset. They thought they had an interference call there in the end zone. They thought they had the right play called. Receiver was wide open. He gets hit well before the ball gets there. Obviously, the refs are saying it was tipped.
It was tipped, so there's no interference. He's got no argument.
And I guess it depends if the interference occurred before the tip, and I don't know what they're arguing on that. But I think the important thing for DePauw at this point is, even though they're down 14-7, they have dominated the line of scrimmage in this game. Wabash has made a couple of really big plays that have helped them. Maintain your composure, come out in the second half, and do what you've been doing.
And this is a tricky spot for Wabash right here. They have the ball inside the 1 yard line. They cannot take a knee to run out the clock because of the threat of the safety. So they're going to have to get the ball in positive yardage here. Here's another
the play
look
of the game. Play of the game so far. Brent Claxton gets it. 80 Pennenberg, that's why he's an All-American, and I mean that was about 2 inches short of being a touchdown.
Yeah, just a spectacular play. He just lowered his shoulder and dared the DePauw ball carrier to run over him, and he couldn't do it. But again, Wabash needs to be really careful here. DePauw with a couple of timeouts left and 10 seconds to go. If Wabash makes a mistake, DePauw still has a chance to score.
Niemeyer is standing about 8-10 inches in the end zone. As you see, that's how close it is. That's where he will snap it to Matt Hudson, who wisely just lunges forward, taking advantage of those 6'6" and picks up a little bit of breathing space, and the clock will run out on the first half. A first half where 9-0 Wabash, hoping to close out with perfection, leads it 14-7 over DePauw here in this 114th Monon Bell. Guys, we've seen a lot here already. We anticipated this would be one of the better matchups in a long time. A 7-2 DePauw team that had 2 tough losses this year, an unbeaten Wabash team, and it's lived up to the billing so far.
It has, and each team has done exactly what we expected it to do. Wabash has moved the ball with long pass plays. It's been an explosive offense. DePauw, very methodical, short passing game. Jeremiah Marks has been outstanding. And really, Rob, I think that, at least from my standpoint, Wabash has done everything we've expected.
Let's go now to Natalie, who is standing by with Coach Creighton. Natalie.
Okay, Coach, the offensive is doing well under Matt. Let's talk about the defense. Great stop there, but Jeremiah is getting through a few times. What are you going to have to do to stop him in the second half?
I don't know if he can be stopped. We feel good when we're slowing him down. He's a great player,
and they're really playing well, and we're just fighting, scratching, and clawing. Hopefully we can slow them down and get into some third down situations and get some stops.
Well, you're headed into the locker room here on a high note. What are you going to tell your team during the half?
Well, I'm probably going to settle them down, but they're pretty focused right now. DePauw's a really good football team, and there's no way we're getting ahead of ourselves. So we're just going to make sure that we know the plan and come out and really try to execute well in the second half.
Good luck with that.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Chris Creighton, he's lost only one time in Monon Bell competition, trying to make it 6-1 as you look at the sellout crowd of 8,000 here at Blackstock Stadium on the DePauw campus. And at intermission, the visitors from Wabash are up 14-7 over DePauw in the 114th edition of the Monon Bell. Okay, we take a look at some of the first half stats here, guys. Anything that jumps out especially for you at this time? We see the total yards 200 and almost 200 for the two teams.
Well, the rushing yardage for DePauw really stands out. Allowed them to control the clock, to do everything they needed to do. They didn't finish when they got close. The last play for them in this first half, 4th down and inches, they elected to go with the pass, the play action, instead of pounding it in. That put them down 14-7.
And that's going to be a highlight forever in DePauw. That's the Wabash history book right there we've seen, right? Pennenberg's hit.
Yeah, that'll go down in Monon Bell lore as one of the great plays, regardless of the outcome. That was just spectacular.
Now let's go down to Natalie, who's standing by with the coach of the Tigers. Natalie?
That's right. What did you able to tell your Tigers here at the half?
Well, I mean, statistically, if you looked at it without looking at the score, I mean, I think you'd think we were winning the football game. So you're clearly disappointed with what's on the scoreboard, but the guys are playing hard, and obviously we're finding ways to move the football. And outside of a couple of big plays, we're playing pretty good defensively. It's exactly what everybody thought would be. It's two great teams fighting their hearts out, trying to out-execute the other, and it's the exact kind of game that you thought you might get today. It's got to be a treat for all the fans.
You know, I hate to be negative, but it seems like there's been a few 4th downs that you haven't been able to convert. What is the game plan as far as getting in the end zone?
Well, we probably outcoached ourselves, and I'll take the blame. And you got probably the best running back we've ever had in the history of the school, and we decided to try to play action it. Despite thinking that we got messed over a little bit there, we probably should have just pounced in. We got to keep the ball in his hands and not outcoach ourselves and just do what we've done all season.
Okay, well, thank you, and good luck the second half.
Thank you very much.
I tell you, Matt Walker just got huge props, I think, from everybody on the DePauw sideline for taking the blame, as a lot of second-guessing was going on, why Jeremiah Marks didn't try to carry on that very last play when they were threatening to score from inches away.
Yeah, he must have heard us talk up here because that's what we've been saying is, you go with the one that brung you, and Jeremiah Marks is that guy. I would have fully expected from 4th and inches he would make it. But, Matt's showing a lot of maturity there as a young coach. The program here, he's the leader of that program. The men are going to take their lead from him. He accepts responsibility for that, emphasizes what they're going to do in the second half, and get them ready to play. You can't look past. You have to look to the future, to the next play. Every time. It's the next play that's the most important. And I think that showed really great leadership on his part.
I tell you, it's a tough situation for Matt Walker to take over. As Coach Nick's a legend here in DePauw, and as with any legend, it's not easy to succeed. 2 other guys tried. This is the 3rd head coach since he left in 2003, and for some players like Jeremiah Marks, this is their 3rd head coach in 4 seasons. So Walker here in his 2nd year, you don't have to explain to him. He was a quarterback here at DePauw, a great baseball player. He knows what's at stake. And Chris Creighton, he's almost like a Wabash native, you kind of think, don't you? Great player himself at Kenyon College. Went on to coach at Ottawa before coming here, but he immediately got how big this game is.
He did, and he has a terrific record, 5 wins, 1 loss. That is the best winning percentage in the Monon Bell game by any Wabash coach in history. And he does a good job in setting the right tone with the team, making sure that they understand how important it is, but that they don't get so tight or so worked up that they're unable to perform.
I've spent time with both coaches, and, it's really important to have fine guys leading these men. These are great kids here, and they both do a great job of that.
And DePauw comes on the attack to start the second half. Gasbera has it out to the 45-yard line. Chris Gasbera picks up the short bouncing kick and then goes sailing after that. The junior out of Oklahoma City.
Well, the one touchdown DePauw did get today was set up by field position. Here again, they're going to have great field position. A very nice return by Gasbera. Some nice blocking up front. this really sets up perfectly for the kind of offense DePauw is going to run. So we'll see if they can convert.
Props all the way around there for Gaspar on the sideline. That 25-yard return as Spud Dick and company now go on the attack. Let's go down to Natalie on the sideline.
Guys, I just found out that 80's Pinnenberg, his halftime wasn't what he planned during that last big hit before the half. He ended up having a shoulder stinger. Needless to say, it was being worked on, but don't worry, Wabash fans. 80's back out there and going to be doing it again.
I don't think that you could slow him down if he was hit by a Mack truck in a game like this, and he's going to definitely try to get back out there.
Yeah, no question he was going to come back and play here in the second half. And we talked about the field position setting up DePauw's first touchdown. We haven't talked a lot about this. One of the differences in the game, Wabash has not had a good day on covering kickoffs. Earlier, they just got out of their lanes and did not show a lot of discipline. And here's a look at 80 Pinnenberg's hit at the end of the first half. You can see he led with the shoulder, and that's where the stinger occurred.
Marks carried for 6 on the first time, and this time he rambles once again over the right side and gets it down inside the 45-yard line, and a first down for Jeremiah Marks as he has gone over 100 yards rushing on the day.
You really feel like DePauw's had the football most of this game. And when you control the ball in line of scrimmage, running the ball like that, that really the time of possession weighs in your favor. It actually puts pressure on Wabash to make big plays. Now, they've made them. To their credit, they have made the big plays when they had to.
Marks with his 19th career 100-yard game, yet another of the many records he holds at DePauw. On 1st and 10 down at the 43 of Wabash, it's Marks again inside the 40 and spins around as every time he's hit, he always tries to lunge and pick up another yard or two, and he got a couple of yards there as he's helped up by the man who brought him down, Joshua Gangloff.
Yeah, freshman Mark Brannigan made a nice block there to help spring that play. As you said, Jeremiah he's always moving north and south. Those feet are always moving. It's very important for a running back to do that.
Picks up 5, 2nd and 5 at the 37. Top of your screen, Mulligan out wide. And it goes to Mulligan. Not this time. Early on, he was able to get the stiff arm in and get away from his man, but Richard Room stays home and makes a great open field tackle.
Joe, there again, neutralizing the Wabash's defensive line's rush. You get that quick little 3-step choppy drop and hit that little hitch out there, and now it brings up 3rd and 1.
When I talked to defensive coordinator Neil Nethery yesterday, I asked him, what matchups do you like? And he said, we like Jared Lang, senior defensive tackle from Terre Haute, and Daryl Kinnan, senior defensive tackle from Texas. We don't think DePauw can handle them in single blocking, but with this short drop passing game, they haven't had to worry about him. They've completely neutralized that pass rush.
3rd and 1, Marks picks up the first down. Jeremiah Marks straight up the middle. Another first down for DePauw. I got to believe that even Chris Creighton would agree with Matt Walker. If you just picked up the stats right now and you didn't even look at the scoreboard, you knew nothing else about this game, you'd say, well, I'm guessing DePauw might be up by 3 points to a touchdown.
Our offense has not been on the field in a long time other than that one last play of the half to sneak it out from the shadows of the goal line.
It's 1st and 10 now, down to the 32. Good drives here in the early going of the second half for Spud Dick and company. And it's Jeremiah Marks once again trying to get outside. They string him out this time, and they bring him down. And leading the way in there, number 27, Matt Kraft, and Andy Dyge coming over to help out.
It's one of the few times DePauw's tried to go to an outside zone with Marks, and the Little Giants disrupted it with a good push up front and delayed the play long enough for Matt Kraft to come up and make the stop, along with, as Kenny said, help from Andy Dyge.
You know, in that double tight end formation, they've got one wideout. They've got 10 guys in the box. There's no safety. The first down play, a play action deep, is really, it's set up. It's there for the taking. You just wonder when they're going to do it.
Loss of 1 on that, 2nd and 11 at the 33. 3 receivers out to the left. Handoff instead goes up the middle once more. And you wonder how many times can Jeremiah Marks carry the ball. I asked him that question yesterday. He said, well, really, as long as they hand it to me, I'll keep carrying it. You almost believe that. I mean, going over 30 carries a game is nothing new to him. He's done it several times.
You know, traditionally running backs who are really good running backs, They get in a rhythm after that 15th, 16th, 17th carry. They want 25, 30 carries a game.
He got 2 back on that. It's 3rd and 9 down at the 31. Big 3rd down again for quarterback Spud Dick and the Tigers. And a flag thrown. And they're pointing that it might be against DePauw. All the Wabash guys pointing that way. It looks like that's the way it's going.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
Now this is not the situation they want to be in. They're very comfortable with 3rd and short, 5, 4, 3 yards. When you're looking at 3rd and 15, 3rd and 12, those kind of things, it really gets you out of the rhythm of what you want to do. Leaves you vulnerable to the blitz. You get sacks. A lot of bad things happen on 3rd and long.
They need 14 for the first down. You see the number of rushes for DePauw compared to Wabash. There's been some big plays by Wabash, though, through the air to set things up. As Spud Dick drops back. Flips it to Marks inside. Marks gets out. He's inside the 20. Marks inside the 10. Jeremiah Marks, touchdown DePauw.
That was a very, very nice play call.
Spud Dick flips it. Jeremiah Marks takes over, and 36 yards later, he's in the end zone.
Well, he split the 3 receivers out to the left, go back. Marks sets up the block, and then he just flips a little shovel pass. Nobody's left. Makes a nice cut, picks up a nice block here at the end, and boom, you got 6 points right on the board.
And the point after is no good, off to the left.
Well, Joe, the kicking problems that you talked about for both teams here before the game are coming to fruition.
Yeah, it's not been pretty. It's a chance every time out on the kicking, but no doubt when the ball's in the hands of Jeremiah Marks, got the little shovel pass from Spud Dick and goes 36 yards to bring his team within 1. And then we've seen a missed field goal, barely to the right. This one goes to the left, just hit off the upright there.
Just hooked it a little bit too much, and that is a little bit of a breather for the Little Giants. They maintain the 1-point lead, but Rob, you're right. Both of DePauw's touchdown drives have been set up by mistakes in the kicking game for the Little Giants. And this last time, they just were not disciplined at all in staying in their lanes and being fundamentally sound and executing their coverage. And DePauw made them pay.
They sure did. You know, it's interesting, too, that on that 3rd and long call, we talked about the bad things that can happen when you get 3rd and long, and Coach Walker goes to Jeremiah Marks on that little flip play. Instead of going something fancy, hey, let's go to our big horse, see if he can make the play, and he comes through for you.
Brendan Smith will kick it off. Taken at the 20. And Javon Pruitt moving in to bring down Gabe Guerrero.
Guys, I'm excited to see Wabash's offense here. They've been so exciting, so fun to watch. We haven't seen them in a while.
In case you forgot, yes, Matt Hudson and company are coming back out. Guerrero with 12 yards on that. And Joe, you made up the mention earlier in this, and we've seen big plays. I mean, like that, 2-3 minutes, that's all they need to get their score. So as one of the most misrepresented stats sometimes is time of possession. They don't need a lot of time, Wabash.
No, they can score quickly. They can come from behind quickly, though I don't think Chris Creighton would mind if his defense spent a few minutes on the sideline to catch its breath.
Matt Hudson to throw, complete. Up across the 40, going to Brock Graham. Graham, one of these guys, almost automatic. You could say that as well, though, about Mike Russell for the receiving core here of Wabash.
Something else about Brock Graham, and we need to talk about this because it's one of the things that makes this such a special rivalry. Brock Graham, one of the best football players at Wabash College, also one of the best students. He has a 4.0 GPA.
First and 10 up to the 43. And back in the lineup is Evan Sobecki. Nice carry up toward midfield. Kind of forgot about Sobecki there a little bit. Porter doing such a good job coming in, but Evan, who has been a very solid, about 4 yards every time he carries, picks up a little more than that, going straight up the middle for 7.
Coach Creighton typically rotates his running backs so they get an equal number of carries each week, but he said yesterday he would go with the hot hand, and in the first half, C.P. Porter clearly had the hot hand. He completely changed the dynamics of the Wabash offense, but here giving Sobecki another shot to begin the second half.
And he picked up those 7 to make it 2nd and 3. Ball marked right at midfield. Wabash, their first drive here in the second half. Throwing down the sideline, way out of bounds. Gabe Guerrero was running there step for step down the sideline with the DePauw defender.
Good decision by Matt Hudson. Didn't have anything there. He just threw it out of bounds, so neither player could get it. And Coach Creighton always says that among the best plays Matt Hudson will make will be plays on which he throws the ball out of bounds rather than taking a sack or throwing it up for grabs.
Javon Pruitt had very nice coverage out there. It was an excellent job.
3rd and 3 at midfield. 2 receivers to the left. Hey, here's a shovel pass of their own, so Becky takes it. He's to the 40, shakes a tackle, leans forward, picks up the first down and more as he gets down to the 37. Wabash obviously impressed with what DePauw was able to do on that touchdown with the shovel pass. So Hudson to Sobecki and a first down here for the Little Giants.
Wabash has it in its arsenal. They usually run the shovel pass to Graham, and I think Hudson checked to that play. They had man press coverage on the outside against Russell. They typically run the post. DePauw rolled out of it, brought help from the safety. Hudson checked and ran the shovel pass.
Graham made a great block in that play. Wow, that was a great block. He sprung it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Chris Creighton already had that plan before he saw it. So Becky has had a nice start here into the second half, hasn't he? A good run, and then got that catch and run there as DePauw is able to make the stop after about a yard pickup here that'll make it 2nd and 9.
Sobecki running much harder here at the beginning of the third quarter than at the beginning of the first. He's a good player. He was a starting running back at Penn High School, one of the better 5A programs in the state of Indiana. Injured his knee as a senior. Did not play a lot last year as he was starting to get the hang of the Wabash program, and this year has been the starter most of the way.
2nd and 9 at the 36 of DePauw. Wabash driving here. First time they've had the ball in the second half. DePauw scoring on their first possession. Play action, Hudson throws. It is incomplete, almost intercepted, and then actually almost caught at the end of it all by Bart Bannock. It goes off 8 sets of hands along the way. 4 guys touching it. Let's take one more look at Hudson here.
We said earlier, Hudson has a tendency to let balls sail, and here he didn't quite follow through, and he also threw into coverage. Tried to thread the needle, it sailed. Probably shouldn't have let that one go either way.
Wow, Springnether almost was able to pick it off right here after Graham couldn't come up with it, and then at the end of it all, it was Bannock going for it along with, was that Shearer in there? So everybody got a piece of it. It's 3rd and 9 now at the 36. Hudson throwing, incomplete. Good defense on the part of J.J. Costello.
Excellent coverage by Costello that time.
A senior out of St. Louis, able to knock it away.
Surely he'll punt it, won't he?
He will. This is not deep enough for it to be 4-down territory. And Wabash has a terrific punter in Chad Finley, averaging over 40 yards per kick. He would be ranked nationally in punting. He just doesn't have enough attempts.
Finley with 1 punt today for 40 yards. Standing back is Javon Pruitt around his 10. Little pooch kick. Hits and hangs in there around the 12-yard line. So nice play by Finley. I like the fact that he gave up some of that average. Instead of kicking it in the end zone to bring it out to the 20, he got about 8 yards for his team with that nice punt.
Averaging nearly 41 yards per kick, and he could arguably be in the conversation as one of the top defensive players for the Little Giants because he has really done a good job in giving Wabash the field position advantage throughout the season.
Yeah, he'll lose a little bit on average there with that 23-yarder, and sometimes that doesn't show. Well, it won't show up, obviously, in average, but certainly Chris Creighton and all the little Giants know how big that is, as he saved him about 8 yards, and DePauw will start this drive at their own 12. Marks, right side. And hanging right in there, he got an arm on him and just stayed right there is Rick Lehman. There was some question whether he would play today, the strong safety, but the junior out of Griffith, Indiana, with some back problems, did not start today, but he hangs right in there. Boy, that'll stretch your back out as well, trying to bring that guy down.
He did a nice job to shed the block, stayed right with Marks and made a fine tackle, and as you said, he was in bad shape yesterday. He had a stimulator machine on his lower back to stop back spasms. May have a disc issue that'll need to be addressed later in the year, but he showed up and is ready to go today.
Marks picks up 4 nonetheless, and it's 2nd and 6 out to the 16. Marks again, right around the 19, about 3 yards maybe on that carry.
Pinnenberg there on the bottom of the pile again. He and Marks have said hello to each other numerous times today. And Rob, the thing that impresses me about Jeremiah Marks, here it seems Wabash has had 2 of its better defensive plays against the DePauw run, and yet it's 3rd down and 2.
Yeah, you're right back where they want to be, 3rd and 2, and that gives them all the options in the running game and the quick, short passing game, and that's how they put all these drives together.
Jeremiah, as you see there, close to breaking yet another record that he's already set with 34 carries in a game. He has 30 right now, and it's 3rd and 3 at the 19. Dick throwing, complete at the 40. Dick hitting Alex Coors, the 6'2 freshman out of Indianapolis, who hauls in his 41st catch of the year.
It's a nice little fake the bubble screen out there to the left. And out of the slot, Alex Coors just headed right downfield. Spud put this ball right on the money. And Alex actually just almost shook that away for a touchdown. Nice little play action there, which again, set up by the 3rd and short. You think they're going to throw that little short pitch pass, and boom, he sends the guy downfield.
32-yard pass from Spud Dick to Alex Coors, 1st down at midfield. And Marks is brought down on his 31st carry of this game. Let's check in with Natalie.
Let's talk a little bit about Coach Matt Walker. He is DePauw. He's seen this game from all angles. We're talking as a fan, as a player, and as an assistant coach, and here we are, his first home on Unbell as a head coach. He kind of says it's like an out-of-body experience getting to be a head coach at this game. You know, something that's unique is his dad was a player at DePauw, but he was raised in Wabash territory, he was raised in Crawfordsville, and I asked Jeremiah Marks what he thought about that. Jeremiah said, yeah, we won't hold it against him. So it looks like that Coach Mark Walker is exactly what the DePauw team needs right about now.
On 2nd and 11, Marks again spun around about the time he got it, but always leaning forward. He might have gotten that yard back that he lost on the previous carry.
Linebacker Andy Dyke made the stop there. Dyke, a starter at the beginning of the year, saw some limited action last week as the coaches worked a couple of other linebackers into the rotation. But he made a fine play there, and Pinnenberg made a fine play on the previous down. So the Little Giants doing a good job stopping the run here in this series.
Packed house of 8,000 here at Blackstock Stadium in Greencastle for this 114th edition of the Monon Bell. Big 3rd down here. 3rd and 11 at midfield for Spud, Dick, and DePauw. Out of the backfield, it's Marks. Marks has the 1st down and then some. He's inside the 30, run out of bounds around the 25. Spud Dick going to the man, Jeremiah Marks. They respond 25 yards later with a 1st down to keep the drive alive for the Tigers.
Well, 3rd and long again. Who do you go to? Jeremiah Marks. Just a very nice play. You slip him out of the backfield, shows a little block, just pops out there. Spud hits him, and yards after catch are so key all day long. They've hit the short passing game. Plenty of yards after the catch. You move the chains.
1st and 10 at the 23. Mark Brannigan now back in at tight end for DePauw. Throwing, and great catch. What a catch by Mulligan. And it's incomplete. He almost pulled it in. I thought he was going to pull it in, but not quite.
They set up that play action on 1st down like we were saying. No safety in the back of the field. So that's an easy pitch and catch on the post. The ball just maybe a little high. Would have been a very nice catch. Pretty good throw, actually, and I just couldn't hang on to it.
Chad Peterman back on defense made a terrific play as well to stay right in there with it. He went up and got it, could not bring it down. So it'll be 2nd and 10 at the 23. Marks again. Fights off the tackle and gets inside the 20. Jeremiah Marks, as it looked like he was stopped, but anyone that's watched his outstanding 4-year career knows that rarely does Jeremiah Marks ever just stop with the initial hit. As we take a look at him breaking tackles here going on the left side.
Really not much push in the offensive line that time. He just keeps moving, keeps going forward. He does not go down. You've got to put a hit on him to get him down.
Picks up 3, makes it 3rd and 7 at the 20. Another big 3rd down here for DePauw. A lot of clock gone here in this 3rd quarter, down to 3 minutes to go. Dick to pass, throwing it, sliding, and not able to come up with it. Once again, it's Mulligan. We've seen him stretch it, almost get it. That time he had to slide in there and couldn't quite come up with it.
They tried to sneak that little post in there on that cover 3 on 3-step drop. That's one you can stick in there. I'm sure Spud would like to have that one back. Maybe another yard or 2 up, and they've got a 1st down at the 1-yard line.
Of course, at this stage, given that the field goal has already been missed and certainly don't have a strong kicking game, you figure everything's 4-down territory once you're inside about the 25 here. And here we go on 4th and 7 at the 20. Mulligan and Coors out to the right. Dick rolling in that direction. Throwing and incomplete.
Looked like some miscommunication there between Spud Dick and his receiver. I think Spud was expecting him to break that route off and come back toward the middle of the end zone, and no DePauw player was there when the ball was thrown, and the Little Giants with a big defensive stop. This is the 3rd time now in the game that DePauw has penetrated the Wabash 25-yard line and come away without any points.
So Wabash will take over once again, 1st and 10 at their own 20. And you just wonder, as this game goes along, how many opportunities can DePauw miss?
Right. You only get so many, and at some point it's going to come back to bite them.
Matt Hudson and company back on the attack. So Becky staying in there at running back. You think about the future. I know they're looking ahead. Well, they're looking at this game, then they'll look ahead to the playoffs. But you're looking at backfield. So Becky, a sophomore, Porter, a freshman. They both have a little different dimension to their game. Something for Little Giants fans to be looking forward to for the next couple of 3 Monon Bells.
And throw in Hudson, who's a sophomore, and Graham, who is a sophomore. And the offensive talent will be here for a long time.
4 on that. It is 2nd and 6 at the 24. Again, handoff. And so Becky spinning around and hanging on and picking up a couple of yards. The sophomore out of Granger, Indiana, came in with over 450 yards on the season. He had a couple of games this year where he had 16 carries, the most on the team. Obviously quite the contrast to DePauw with their running game, where Jeremiah Marks, 28, 30, 32 is nothing out of the ordinary.
Chris Creighton's offense is one that will likely never have a back who will carry the ball 25 or 30 times in a single game.
It's now 3rd and 3, the ball out to the 27 of Wabash.
It's a huge play.
Hudson, some pressure, throws complete. Brock Graham has it. He is corralled and brought down. But it's Hudson going to Graham, those sophomore tandem there teaming up to move the chains.
It was a well-designed play. They had Graham out in the slot and just ran a little hitch route to him, and he plows ahead past the defender to get the yardage he needs. Unusual to line Graham up in the slot. He's usually on a wing or in the backfield with Hudson.
Shearer making the hit. Costello coming to help out. 1st down again for Wabash, out to the 35. Matt Hudson, who's coming off a 300-yard game for the second time this season on play action, is throwing over the middle, complete. He has his man, Bannock, all along, touchdown, Wabash. Matt Hudson to Bart Bannock, and the Little Giants extend the lead.
Another huge play for the Little Giant passing attack, and they set it up with the run action. They ran Sebecki heavily on their first two possessions here in the second half. Frees the linebacker in safety. Single coverage on the deep post. Hudson puts it on the money. Bannock breaks the tackle, and nobody can catch him. Bannock, one of the 4 senior receivers who have been absolute stars this year, and this quick strike Little Giants offense makes DePauw pay.
65 yards, Hudson to Bannock. Bannock's 5th touchdown catch of the season. And waiting the extra point of Ayler, and it's good, and it's 21-13 Wabash. We talked about how quickly they can strike, and you saw it there. Matt Hudson, beautiful play fake, and he unloads to Bart Bannock, the 6'3 senior, homegrown Indiana talent who has reached your beat, and that's the ball game right there. He's off to the races.
And great protection up front. Hudson had all day to throw that ball. And we've seen him throw a couple of balls that floated on deep passes today, but he's also thrown some nice ones, and that one he hit Bannock right in stride. And now the Little Giants with a little bit of breathing room at 21-13.
65 yards coming on one play of that 4-play 80-yard drive. Only 2 minutes of clock, all it consumed. Again, we talked about that big play capabilities, and we saw Bannock haul it in. Brent Bannock, we should mention, is one of those players lost for the season with an ACL, along with C.J. Gum, linebacker, who both those guys will be having surgery next Wednesday. We wish them the best, but that's how it's been this year for Wabash. It's hard to say a 9-0 team wishes they could change a few things, but they wish they had a few of their star players healthy to see just how good everything would go for them going on to the playoffs.
It's really been amazing. When a team loses a preseason All-American quarterback, 2 projected offensive linemen, 2 linebackers who are not going to start but see significant time, and you're still 9-0 and headed to the playoffs, that is unusual.
Gaspera again. He's averaging over 20 yards a return on the day. This time they get down there quickly, and DePauw will start around their own 26. Let's go to Natalie.
Hey guys, when the DePauw offense was in the huddle, I was listening in a little bit, and the team and coaches think that they have what it takes to convert those 3rd and 4th downs that are just so close and hurting them. Basically, the coaches told the offense to relax, have fun, and they think they're going to be able to win this game on the run. So let's see what happens this possession.
All right, thanks, Natalie. Gaspera, by the way, with 13 yards on that return out to the 28-yard line. Now, Spud Dick is a sophomore. I was talking to Matt Walker about him yesterday. He said, look how many times he played last year. He played big games last year. He started every game this year. You know, he's got the experience. We feel with he and Marks that we have the kind of players that can step up in big game situations. And obviously now as the clock's winding down here in the 3rd quarter, they're going to be pressed to come back in the 4th quarter on the number 7 team in the country.
Well, Matt had a great recruiting class last 2 years, and he's doing a great. These guys have all been there. Some of these guys are playing. They've played at really good high school programs, played in state championship games. They've played in this game before. They're going to keep their poise. And, you know, we're just coming down the end of the 3rd quarter. We got a lot of football to play.
Through 3 quarters here at Blackstock Stadium. The number 7 undefeated Wabash Little Giants lead 21-13 over DePauw. Can Wabash stay perfect as we take another look at Matt Hudson to Bart Bannock to extend the lead in their try for perfection? The 4th quarter coming up when we come back. And just starting the 4th quarter here in Greencastle, home of the DePauw Tigers. They're trailing 7th-ranked and unbeaten Wabash 21-13. And a 3rd and 6 at the 32-yard line of DePauw. Spud Dick brings the Tigers up to the line. Going in motion, Alex Kors. To pass. Moves up in the pocket, nowhere to go, and he's brought down. Wabash holds on 3rd down. And Spud Dick there did not have a lot of time to get anywhere. The ball is loose. Are they going to rule this a fumble, or was he down by contact? We'll wait and see.
They're saying
it
down.
Looks like
They're saying down. They've signaled fourth down.
Dick's been able to avoid trouble most of the day, not on that one. As we take another look at this, and you can see a lot of double teaming on number 11, by the way, today. Darrell Kennan, who's had a terrific year. Dykes comes over and moves in to make the hit. The ball's loose, but he is down on the ground, but nonetheless, they're going to have to punt it away now.
That was a big stop for Wabash because DePauw has done such a good job all day of holding the ball and sustaining drives, and that time they stopped them after they get the touchdown and maintain that momentum.
Nice punt by Adam Hill, the freshman out of Crown Point, Indiana, averaging 36.5 on the season. He got a nice roll that will go all the way down to the 16-yard line.
It was a nice series by the Wabash defense. The first time all day they've really been able to limit Jeremiah Marks in any meaningful way. And big for the Little Giants to respond to their offensive score with a stop and getting the ball back.
So here comes Wabash. Note the time at 13:17. That was a 49-yard punt, by the way, for the freshman Adam Hill, who has been one of the bright spots in the kicking game this year for DePauw. But all the scores, they only need 3 minutes or less, and Wabash can score. We'll see what they can do here. 13:17 to go in this game. Swings it out, Brock Graham. Fights off a tackler and gets it across the 20.
We've talked all day about Wabash's quick strike, big play offense, but if you talk to Chris Creighton, he will tell you that the defense has been the reason this team was able to weather the loss of Dustin Huff and some of the other injuries, because Dustin was injured in game one. It took them a couple weeks to sort out their offense, and it was the defense that carried them through those 2 critical weeks while they were establishing Matt Hudson as the new starting quarterback.
Graham, you talked about him being that J back. He's everywhere. Moves out into a slot now. He'll line up, carry the ball, run it, catch it, whatever he needs, as he's accounted for 9 touchdowns on the season. And once again, it comes to Graham. Graham to the 30, first down. Tripped up by Javon Pruitt. He gets it out to about the 34-yard line. Now with more on Brock Graham, let's go to Natalie.
Hey guys, Brock doesn't just dominate on the field, he also stands out on campus. He was voted Freshman of the Year. Now that doesn't mean Freshman of the Year on the team. The entire student body voted him Freshman of the Year on campus. We're talking about a guy who's been to Africa to work with the underprivileged, HIV. He's very religious as well. He has a 4.0 major and is going into ministry, one of his possibilities. So this guy, not just great on the field, but really has a good purpose for the Wabash community.
Indeed he does, and a big Detroit Tiger fan had his Tiger cap on yesterday, not to be confused with the DePauw Tigers. He wanted to point that out on 1st and 10, and it's Hudson floating it on the sideline, and running down and making the grab is Mike Russell. What a terrific play.
That was a terrific play. Hudson had some heat, and he just did get rid of it before taking the sack. Again, the ball sailed on him, but Russell stayed right with it. Just did get his feet in bounds to make the catch. A really nice play by the senior wide receiver.
That's an excellent catch. That's tough to do. Looking back over your shoulder like that, keep your feet in bounds.
That was picture perfect. 20 yards on that pass from Hudson to Russell. Another first down in DePauw territory now at the 47. Under 12 minutes to go. DePauw's defense, you got to believe right now they're thinking we cannot afford to give up another score, trailing 21-13. That one sails just a little bit on him, and stretching out as much as he could. Russell, right with him, Javon Pruitt, but 6'2" Russell needed to be about 6'4" to bring that one in.
DePauw starting to get some pressure on the Wabash pocket now. They haven't been able to get to Hudson most of the afternoon, but now on the last 2 plays, forced some throws from Matt.
Well, I think you're starting to see the benefits of their rotations. DePauw will rotate linemen, their defensive linemen, throughout the game, and you'll see guys running in and out, and they're fresh still.
Yeah, at times it looks like a hockey shift, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The change in the line there is even the stars like McNeilis and Costello, McElwain, they'll be in and out along with Tucker, Wright, and Fench. See what happens here on 2nd and 10 at the 47. Can DePauw once again apply some pressure? 3 receivers to the right for Hudson. Shovel pass inside to Porter. Spins around one man, but cannot get around the other. And nice defensive play there by DePauw, as always dangerous is C.P. Porter when he's even close to being in an open area.
Nice little shovel pass there, is well schemed. It looked like he was going to get the first down, and Hepner came out like a shot out of nowhere. You'll see, just lays a big hit on him right here. Boom.
Wow. Nice play by Mark Hepner, the strong safety, a junior out of Woodburn, Indiana. Pick up a 5 on that, 3rd and 5 at the 42. Graham and Porter in the backfield. Hudson rolling left. Throwing complete. Stretching out to bring it. They're saying no cut, no catch. Mike Russell stretching out once again.
He rolled that incomplete.
Saying it hit the ground, I guess?
Yeah, Wabash continues to attack the flats with success. That ball just got away from Hudson a little bit as he was open, and consistently they've been able to hit that flat area.
It's close. I guess they're saying not control of the ball as you see him bring it in. The legs down, obviously.
Sure looked like a pretty good catch.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Of course, they do not in Division III here have the advantage that we do of a replay, but I don't know, guys. I would argue that was a catch.
I would too.
Yeah, that was a catch.
Well, Chad Finley will have to punt it away on 4th and 5. And that is kind of rare to see that kind of punt come off the foot of Chad Finley, who has a great season this year kicking the ball, as we've talked about.
Well, even though the Little Giants catch a bad break on the incomplete call on what was clearly a catch by Mike Russell, they still don't lose out too badly on field position with DePauw inside the 20.
Yeah, it looked like an ugly punt, but it was very effective. You really don't want to punt him in the end zone.
I figure he might get a little bit more. He had one beautiful punt earlier that way.
Yeah.
And again, you got to give a lot of props to Chad Finley, who has sacrificed his average today with 2 kicks of 25 or less for the sake of the team. Ball is at the 18, where it'll be 1st and 10. Play action. Dick throwing over the middle. Got his man up around the 35-yard line. And so Spud Dick quickly comes out, going to his favorite man in Brian Mulligan.
Well, there you see the play action on 1st down, which is really the best time to do that. The defense is thinking run first with Jeremiah Marks. Did a nice job running the lead receiver, get the safety pulled out of there, and then he hits his receiver underneath Mulligan. Had plenty of time, stepped up nicely, and that's a nicely conceived play. They really probably need to think more of those terms on 1st down here.
19 yards on that one from Spud Dick to Mulligan. Back to the ground, and Jeremiah Marks, who is moving in on a school record. The record is 39 carries in a game. He holds about every other record.
He and Pinenberg could become neighbors someday because they certainly know each other pretty well.
They do. Pinenberg made a fine tackle on that play, and he's lived up to his All-American billing today as a middle linebacker.
Yeah, coming in here 9th in the nation, averaging just under 14 tackles per game. The All-American linebacker, Pinenberg. 2nd and 8 at the 37. Quick hit out to Mulligan. Again, one-on-one, and Richard Rooms for the 2nd time stays out there and brings him down. Rooms has made some nice plays today, including breaking up one in the end zone back in the 1st half.
He's a real senior leader on this team. He's out of South Bend, Indiana. Works part-time as a model in the offseason. Has done some shoots for Abercrombie and Fitch. And is just one of the really neat guys on this football team. And after having trouble with those passes out in the flats, he's done a nice job tackling one-on-one.
If you get Popular Mechanics, you can see the 3 of us coming up in next month's issue.
Boy, the cushion they
3rd
give.
and 4 at the 42. And Spud Dick looking to the sideline there, and they snap it to Jeremiah Marks. A little trickery as Marks will take it and get close to the 1st down.
Well, they just had Spud Dick walk off the field there as if he was trying to get a play and then a direct snap to Jeremiah Marks, and he's going to be pretty close. They're measuring now.
They sure went to a lot of effort to squeeze those 3 yards out, didn't they?
Well, they did, particularly the soft coverage they're getting now on the corners. I mean, the slants were wide open. It looks like he's going to come up just a little bit short.
by, as you see there, about, well, almost looks like it's going to be close to another yard they're going to need there. And with 9:08 to go in this game, boy, this is a huge fourth down here for DePauw.
If you don't get it. This is a sign of how much respect they have for Wabash's offense. A good punt, you could pin them back down inside their 20. It's going to sneak it.
Here it is, 4th and about 1. And good call, Rob Doyle. That's what you would have done.
Yes, I would have done that.
In the day when
Yes.
you were leading DePauw against Wabash.
No reason to turn and hand it back to a back 2 yards back when you've got less than a yard to go. I'm sure Matt would like to have that one back at the end of the first half because that was inside the 1 yard line as well. And with that big offensive line, they're getting movement.
Big first down here. Just picked up by Spud Dick. Makes it 1st and 10 at the DePauw 48. Dick on play action. Throwing it. Again, Mulligan first down at the 35. Ganged up and the play is over. And again, it is Mulligan at the receiving end. You remember last year, it was the breakout game for Brian Mulligan. Spud Dick trying to bring the team back late at Wabash, and Mulligan comes in off the bench, has 4 big catches. He's made a couple of huge ones here for first downs.
Just a nice little dig route off the play action on first down again. Very good play to run that play action. You get there behind the linebackers on that dig. Spud found the seam very nicely, and you move the chains.
He is the star receiver for him this year. You see his 12th catch just brought in there. And it's 1st and 10 down to the 33. Rifles the pass to the side. Gaspera back in the lineup, brings it in and picks up about 3 yards.
Well, they're going to run those little spot passes or short hitches until somebody stops them, I guess.
Pick up a 4, 2nd and 6. You see the numbers for Spud Dick today?
It's a pretty efficient game, 21 to 27, 245 yards. That's pretty good.
And 2nd and 6 at the 29. Marks. And not much room at all there for Marks, who has been the workhorse again today for DePauw, closing out his career here at Blackstock Stadium before the home crowd. And he is in virtually every page of the record book when you're talking about the offensive end for DePauw. He has 38 carries on the day. One more and he will tie the school record. 140-yard day for Marks. He missed 3 games this season and still comes in with well over 800, approaching 900 yards, and that was being out 3 games with an injury. 3rd and 4 at the 27. On the fake, he's throwing long in the end zone for Mulligan, and it is knocked away. He wanted him to keep going, and Mulligan did, and staying right back there was Thomas Bell in coverage.
Well, they set up that little fake spot pass to the fake hitch and sent him deep, and excellent coverage that time.
This was great pass protection up front for Spud Dick, but he threw it into triple coverage that time. Little Giants have good pass coverage, but boy, Little Giants have not been able to mount any sort of pass rush against DePauw this afternoon.
It was a single man route on that, and they were protecting with the 9 guys.
And Peterman, the free safety, Lehman, the strong safety, quickly reacted to get over there. Here it is, 4th and 4 at the 27. Huge play for Spud Dick and company. Gets it outside, complete to Mulligan, but Mulligan is brought down short of the marker.
Well, I think he got it.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
He did.
Yep.
Better eyes than me.
Got a nice little hitch route there. Just get the first down. Mulligan made a nice Nice little adjustment to get the first down, lowered his head, moved north and south. Normally on that hitch, you'd spin to the outside. He spun to the inside, and really that was the difference in getting the first down. It's an excellent play.
Good call, Rob. Yeah, he got away from Richard Rooms and was able to get that. Banged up a little, but he got the needed first down to the 23, 1st and 10. Marks inside the 20 to the 18. Marks over 104. This is amazing, the yardage he's put up today on Wabash.
This is the most individual yards rushing this season against the Little Giants. Previous high was 131 yards from Franklin in the season opener. So Marks the most successful running back against the Little Giants this season.
And Marks about ready to break another record here. I think it was his 39th carry. One more. He shares the record now. He'll have it all to himself on 2nd and 5 down at the 18. 5:30 to go in this fourth quarter. Marks looks for room on the right side. Maybe gets a couple of three.
Well, right back where we've been. It seems like a broken record, but 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. You've got the short passing game and Marks there. It's really, that's where they want to be. With 5 minutes to go in the game, down 8, you're looking at 2 down territory, which in my mind you might be thinking, run the ball. You've got 2 chances to get yourself 3 yards. If you throw it, it's incomplete, then you've got to go back and get all that in one play.
As the Monon bell rings on the Wabash sideline, where it's been the last 2 years, DePauw trying to break that streak on 3rd and 3 at the 17. Throw going up to bring it down is Gaspera. Chris Gaspera, the 6'4 junior, stretching all the way out to haul that one in. And another big conversion here for Spud Dick as he finds Gaspera.
And they're just hitching up all day. Shows you what I know. They went to the pass on 3rd, hitched up, made a nice catch, good read, and it's just they're thinking in terms of first downs, moving the chains, not taking things that aren't there, and eventually those kind of things wear a defense out.
It is 1st and goal at the 9. Remember, twice they've been in the red zone and come away with 0 points on the day. And a timeout is called. Wabash got on the board first. DePauw came back. It's been a back and forth game since then. The huge play, though, at the end of the first half, very near the end of the first half, was when DePauw tried to take it in on a little swing pass to Brent Claxton, who was stopped at the goal line by A.D. Pennenberg, and Wabash couldn't get it in. Here is Marks again with a record carry, the 15th play of this drive.
I'll tell you, anytime they've been inside the 10-yard line, Wabash's run defense has really stepped it up. They've made it difficult for Marks to find the room that he's found in the middle of the field. It's put DePauw in difficult situations where they haven't been able to put points on the board. You're seeing a bunch of receivers come out now. I would think with 3 downs to get it in from the 8-yard line, you might go 3 chances, throw it 3 times and give yourself 3 chances to score.
It's 2nd and 8. Receivers out to both sides. Marks, of course, the lone setback. He's had 40 carries, a school record in this game. Dick, shovel pass to Marks, and Marks is in for the score. For the second time today, the shovel pass, Spud Dick to Jeremiah. Marks works. And right now, DePauw has pulled within 2.
Well, here's where that kicking game comes back in, because now you'd be looking at an extra point to tie the game. And instead, you've got to go for 2. Just a little shovel pass there when they spread everybody out. You've got Marks in by himself with no linebackers in. He found himself plenty of room to get the touchdown. But it's so important, the kicking game. There's 3 aspects, your offense and your defense, obviously. You can't forget your kicking game. That has played a huge role in this game on both sides for both teams.
The 15th touchdown of the season for Marks. Wabash, a chance to tie it. Coors in motion to the right. Dick to pass, out to Coors. He leans forward and makes it. Alex Coors converts the 2 points. We're tied at 21, 3:37 to go.
Well, that does not surprise me that Alex Kors and Spud would make that play. They put him in motion. Alex is a freshman from Cathedral, Indianapolis. Won a state championship last year. They stuck him in motion, get him one-on-one. He is an excellent athlete, makes the play, gets himself into the end zone. He's been here before. I would fully trust him in this situation. He catches that ball at about the 4 or 5 yard line and gets in.
Matt Kraft made a pretty good play on it, actually, but he was sucked into the flow going to the left and had no chance to get there before he hit the goal line. This is a really interesting DePauw offense, Rob. That in the open, Matt Walker said, boy, we're a pretty boring team. Shovel passes, misdirection. This is not a boring football team to watch.
Well, that's coach speak, therefore I'm going to run the football and pound it as long as I can, but make no mistake, they've still got plenty of things in their offense, and you've seen it, and they've had to use it today.
Including a 15-play drive. They ate up 7 minutes, 18 seconds of clock, and they got a giant 8 points on the Little Giants to tie the score at 21-all, 3:37 to go. And what has been we know it's always fun and exciting. We talked about earlier, this could be one to remember for a long time. DePauw trying for its 8-win season, which will be the 3rd time in 11 years. Wabash, 7th in the country, trying to remain perfect as they move on to the Division III playoffs. So much on the line in addition to the pride that goes with this rivalry. And we'll see what the quick striking offense can do for Wabash. Smith's kick is high and away. With it is Guerrero. Gets up to around the 30. Gabe Guerrero met and brought down Javon Pruitt, leading the way. Mark Hepner, number 22, also in there. 11-yard return by Guerrero.
Well, at this point,
that's what they're playing for, and now it's time to move it, as is tradition, to the neutral zone. It's on the sideline of the team that is victorious the year before. It's at their school all year, but after 364 days, it moves to the neutral zone. And how appropriate right now in a 21-21 game with 3:31 to go.
You really feel like the momentum of this game has shifted in DePauw's favor. Wabash really has lived and died with the big play here. We will see what they can do with the offense here.
DePauw at home has won 10 of its last 13 overall games. Trying to break a 2-game losing streak here in the Monon Bell. There's the numbers on Matt Hudson. He's come up with some big plays today. Can he mount one more drive? Play action to Graham. Keeps those legs churning, but staying right in there with him and hanging on was Terren Collins, the sophomore linebacker out of St. Louis, number 53, bringing down number 43.
Well, this play looked really good to start, but you can see the speed of the DePauw defense. They closed. You've got 5'6" black shirts flying to the football, which is what's important.
Pickup of 2, 2nd and 8 at the 32. The scores from Wabash today have been sudden and long, and they have not taken much time. Can Hudson mount one more scoring drive? Thrown on the far sideline, stretching up to bring it down is Mike Russell. Russell has made some terrific catches today. Anything thrown in this kid's vicinity is like Spider-Man as he goes up to bring him down.
And one that was called incomplete that should have been a catch. He has been fantastic today, but no surprise. He's been this team's best receiver for the last 2 years.
He did a nice job there, and they're going to need those plays. DePauw, right now, they're playing 2 safeties deep. They have been, at least in this series. They are not going to give up the big play. Now they've gone back to a single look, but Wabash is in a tight formation.
It's 3rd down. They still need 1 after the pickup. And they'll try to get it on the ground. Need to get just across the 40, and it appears they have done so.
Brock Graham, short yardage specialist. That's their bread and butter play on a 3rd down and 1 call. And he gets the 1st down. And it's important for the Wabash offense to be patient here. Still 2:40 to play. They have all 3 timeouts, and it is a tie game. So they do not have to scramble to come from behind. So it's very important that Matt Hudson and the offense exercise some patience.
You don't want a turnover. They've got safeties playing 12 yards deep.
Both teams with all their timeouts, 1st and 10 at the 40. Hudson steps up, throws it out to a wide open Chad Sorensen, who is forced out of bounds.
The Wabash's offensive line did a great job. Mike McNeilis has a great motor, and he looks like he had the sack. 3 guys ran him out of there, and there's nobody in the flat over there.
They probably forgot about the backup tight end, the 6'4 sophomore out of Newburgh, Indiana, and Chad Sorensen making a huge 20-yard reception here.
Wabash has been running that 2 tight end set most of the day, something they don't do very often. And that time the second tight end played a big role.
1st and 10 at the DePauw 40. The Wabash offense, you feel they're always a play away from something big. C.P. Porter back in the game at running back, gets room out to the side, gets down to around the 35-yard line.
Good play call there. For one of the few times today, DePauw brought the blitz. The 2 inside linebackers came on a blitz, and Hudson gave it to Porter, who rushed right up inside for a nice gain.
Under 2 minutes to go here in the game. The ball is at the 35-yard line of DePauw. 2nd and 5 for Wabash. And you have to wonder as well, is it 4-down territory anyway the rest of the way with a suspect kicking game?
Nobody's shown me yet that they're going to win this game kicking. Maybe lose the game from kicking, but not win it.
Hudson under pressure. With a man holding on to his ankle, he somehow gets away and is able to throw it away. And good defense there. The pressure put on hard as any time today by DePauw's linemen as they step it up and put it on Matt Hudson here.
On the previous play, they brought the blitz from the inside with the linebackers. This time they came from the edge and brought the outside linebackers. And Hudson did a good job to get rid of the ball and not take a sack.
Ryan McElwain, the senior out of Indiana, putting the pressure on. Over 60 tackles on the season for McElwain, one of the many seniors that would like to close out and finally bring that Monon bell back to DePauw. 1:33 to go in this 4th quarter. 3rd and 5 at the 35, and Hudson wants a timeout. 2 timeouts still remaining for Wabash.
DePauw showed blitz again, this time overloading the left side of their defense, and Hudson didn't have an option to check to protect against it, and he wisely took a timeout.
You see Chris Creighton on the far sideline there, that Band-Aid. He said he got a little bump the other day. It was an intense practice. He has won 5 out of 6 games in this Monon Bell, and he is coming in for the 3rd time in his career with a chance for a perfect regular season. It's amazing what the job he's done in a short period of time. That of the 10 times it's happened in Wabash history so far, 2 of those times it's been done by Chris Creighton, and it could be done a 3rd time today if they're able to pull it out here.
And he is among the winningest active coaches in Division III football, an .809 winning percentage. That places him 4th in the country among active coaches in win percentage. As you say, he's just had a terrific tenure at Wabash.
A 7th-ranked team, these Wabash Little Giants, winners of the North Coast Athletic Conference. They're going on to the Division III playoffs. So in addition to the importance of the bell, they're also looking ahead to a seed and a home field advantage that will be judged on this game. Meanwhile, as you take a look at the prize, that 300-pound bell that used to adorn the locomotive of the Monon Railroad that ran between Crawfordsville and Greencastle. And here we are on 3rd and 5 at the 35 from DePauw. Hudson to the right, throwing right in front of the Wabash, and right in front of the DePauw bench, and it is ruled out of bounds, brought in by Mike Russell, but he was out of bounds. Javon Pruitt right with him as we take another look.
Yeah, he had single coverage out there on Javon Pruitt, and he stayed with him the whole time. They were running that comeback the whole time. He planted, broke on the ball, just like you need to do, and made him have to. It had to have been a perfect throw, perfect catch, and they couldn't make it.
Trying to tightrope that sideline and couldn't stay in bounds. It brings up 4th down and 5 at the 35.
And it looks like this is 4-down territory for the Little Giants. I thought with the ball at the 35, they might try for a coffin corner punt.
I thought you were going to say field goal, Joe. I was going to faint.
Hudson, 4th and 5. Huge play for the sophomore. Pressure is put on, hit as he throws, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Javon Pruitt, his 6th pick of the year.
That is actually, all things considered, if they're not going to get a first down, that's probably the best case scenario, because in terms of field position, it really works out like a coffin corner punt.
He'd have been better off knocking it down. I mean, it's hard to tell a kid to do that in that situation, but really, if he had just knocked it down, DePauw might actually have an opportunity to do something. You know, at this point, they may be better off running that clock out and playing for overtime. You don't want to have a turnover down there.
Well, Javon Pruitt, you think, too, with the hands of Mike Russell, he probably is thinking, I don't want to even just bat it, knock it anywhere in any direction. Right. I better make sure that Russell's hands do not touch this. But you're right, it was just the same, probably better than trying for the little pooch kick down there. Now 96 yards away from the end zone, the DePauw Tigers with 1:23 to go here in this fourth quarter. They have all 3 of their timeouts remaining, tied at 21. And the handoff to Jeremiah Marks, who has already set a school record among the many records he holds for most carries in a game. Going over 40 carries today and having the best running day yet against a solid Wabash defense, allowing 13 points coming into this contest.
Well, this is a time period where you're really lucky to have a kid like Jeremiah Marks, because Wabash only has one more timeout. They can certainly run most of that clock down and get ready and play for overtime. At this point, the way DePauw has been moving the football, I'm sure they probably like their chances if they can get this thing into an overtime situation. You don't want to get a safety or a fumble down there.
This will be historic, the first overtime game, because there were games long ago for the younger audience out there that might have forgotten.
Well, I was in one of them, and when I was a junior, we played a tie, a 22-22 tie, and it felt like a loss. It really did. I mean, it was very frustrating, and it felt like a loss for both sides. It was a great football game, 2 very good teams, but it felt unfinished even to this day, 20-some years later.
Before games used to end in ties before the overtime a few years back. Wabash leads this series 53-51. There have been 9 ties, and Marks will carry it right up the middle. Clock ticking down, approaching 1 minute to go here in regulation. Wabash and DePauw, what a good one it has been. And in all likelihood, we're going to the first overtime in the history of this classic battle.
Well, you look up again, 2 plays, it didn't look like much, and it's 3rd and less than a yard.
3rd and 1. Marks with it. That was a very needed first down.
Well, DePauw has their timeouts now. You know, do you take a shot or 2? You don't want to have a turnover.
You wonder, they have 2 timeouts left.
Yep, looks like they're going to do it.
39 seconds to go. Clock running again. Dick, shovel pass. It's worked twice for touchdowns to Jeremiah Marks today.
Nice play by Gangloff that time. He was tied up by the blocker, and he just reached out and grabbed Marks with one hand and brought him down. That was a big play by Gangloff.
Because he had some room if he had made that, and I think their decision's probably made now. They'll run the clock out, I would think.
I think DePauw, are they taking a timeout?
I think
DePauw is taking a timeout. It's being counted against the Tigers, which would leave them, I believe, with 1 and 1 apiece for Wabash, which could all become moot points in the next 31 seconds here. The score tied at 21 apiece, and this is a 114th Monon bell. Could be headed to overtime for the first time ever in the history of this storied rivalry. There you look at the sophomore, Spud Dick. And Chris Creighton going over his notes. Perfect record at stake, a perfect season at stake, as well as seeds in the playoffs and home field advantage and so many things. And what he said is there isn't enough heat already in this furnace. with the Monon Bell itself, trying to think of all the other things that are at stake here. Fakes it and hands it off to Jeremiah Marks. Marks picking up more yards, getting it out close to the 40.
Now you take a shot.
They'll stop the clock briefly to move the chains. We'll see what happens now with 25 seconds to go.
They still have 2 timeouts left.
Well, remember last year, and again, it was just a frantic comeback, more for pride, but Spud Dick showed a great arm, especially hooking up with Mulligan. And now the referee comes in, and a timeout is called by Wabash. But in the meantime, 4 seconds has ticked off the game clock here at the stadium.
I would think they
We've
would
got it
reset
at 24
that.
seconds, but as we look in the end zone at the scoreboard, it's showing 20 seconds. And DePauw coaches, we can hear them up here in the press box saying, get that 4 seconds back. The Monon Bell is at stake. 5 of the last 6 years, including 2 straight years, it's belonged to the Wabash Little Giants as they're trying to complete an unbeaten regular season, the 7th-ranked team in the country, getting all they can handle today from the 7-2 DePauw Tigers. They also had a very good year in a very tough conference. They're trying for an 8-win season for the 3rd time in the last 11 years. And this game could be headed to overtime for the first time in the storied history after 113 previous meetings.
You know, finishing an undefeated season, no matter where you are, what level, is very difficult. And this shows you that. You're always going to have at least one game on your schedule somewhere where you're going to play a team that's really good, that matches up well with you, and you've got to bring it every play. And both teams are going to fight their lives right now.
Yeah, DePauw clearly one of the best teams on Wabash's schedule. Coming into this game, I think most Wabash people would have told you Franklin was the best team we had seen. Franklin is a playoff team, but the matchup with DePauw is particularly difficult with their style of play.
Wabash has used up their last timeout. DePauw has 2 more. Spud Dick back to pass. Deep drop over the middle. He has his man in Mulligan. Mulligan is at the 43-yard line of Wabash.
We might get that field goal attempt, Rob.
Well,
they'll stop it to move the chains, and then it will start back. And now they'll call a timeout.
Yeah.
Matt Walker will take the timeout. Don't risk it. They don't have time to try to spike the ball here, at least not at this stage. They have, what do you think, maybe 2 more shots downfield? Can Spud Dick be able to throw something, probably go through the end zone from here?
You've got a timeout, so you can go over the middle of the field, just like they did here. When their safeties are bailing way deep like that, there's a nice big cushion that opens up underneath, as you see. So what you want to do is get a portion of that yardage to make that last play more manageable since you have a timeout. If they didn't have a timeout, I would say, yeah, let's take a couple shots at the end zone from here. But at this point, I think they'll have an opportunity to get a part of this thing and then go from there.
Tied at 21, 13 ticks remaining on the clock here in regulation. The Monon Bell has never been decided in overtime. There have been 9 ties in this series, but since the addition of overtime in the NCAA ranks, has never been presented at this stage, this late, this tied up. What a game we have had here as Jerry Spud Dick. I don't know if anybody's called him Jerry ever. He's been known as Spud since his high school days in Indianapolis. And can the sophomore come out for maybe 2 more big shots here, trying to get it in the end zone before regulation? Again, remember, the kicking game suspect on both sides. We doubt that it would be decided by a field goal or even a chance of a field goal. 2 receivers out to both sides. Out to Mulligan, who's trying to get to the sideline and does. Gets it down to around the 36-yard line.
Now they still have another chance to go downfield before.
They have a timeout to go. It better be a quick developing play, though, with under 9 seconds, actually. 8.9 seconds officially on the scoreboard clock here. That'd almost have to be 3 steps and hit a quick slant, wouldn't it? Or either uncork it for the end zone and hope.
I think there's some time to go over the middle.
Dick throws it. Marks has it. Marks bouncing off, trying to get outside. He does, gets out of bounds. 2.4 seconds to go. Jeremiah Marks picks up about 6 more yards on that one.
That was a heck of a play by Jeremiah Marks. Because if any one of those guys stops him, the clock runs out. And this regulation portion of the game is over.
DePauw taking their final timeout. Wow, 2 seconds to go in this 114th Monon Bell, tied at 21 apiece. One more shot for DePauw or we go to overtime as we take another look at Marks making the catch here and then like a pinball going off tackle after tackle.
He knew exactly what he needed to do.
He almost came up a little short
yeah,
on that
he did.
dive,
He looked like he almost did come up short, didn't it?
What a great game for Jeremiah Marks. Over 40 carries today. That's already a record. He's put up more yards against this solid Wabash defense than any other running back this season. And here they're going to try now for a field goal. This is going to be the first career attempt Jordan Haverkamp will come out and attempt what is going to be about a 48-yard field goal. Never before has Haverkamp tried one from this distance. And could it come down to this? Officially going to be listed at 47 yards. A game of quarterbacks and running backs. We did not think it would even be decided by a field goal. Haverkamp has it on his foot now. 2 seconds to go. Monon Bell game on the line.
Oh my.
The kick is long. It's got distance. It's good. It's good. Haverkamp has won the Monon Bell with a 47-yard field goal.
With room to spare.
The Monon Bell is coming back to Greencastle, and the celebration is underway at DePauw. What a great finish to this game. And did you ever think it would come down to Jordan Haverkamp coming in to try a field goal?
That was good. That would have been good from 10 more yards. Unbelievably good kick. Right down the middle.
And look at the happy faces of the more than 8,000 people who crammed into seats and whatever available space was located around the track that circles the field here. And let's take one more look at Haverkamp coming through from 47 yards away.
If I'm not mistaken, he's the backup kicker. And they obviously know from practice that he's got enough leg to get it there, or they wouldn't have thrown him out there. And that kick was absolutely right down the middle and had plenty of leg to spare.
Just goes to show you what kind of strange things can happen in a Bell game. Wabash was only 1 of 5 on the season on field goals. DePauw only 5 out of 13. Rob, neither one of us thought there was any chance this would come down to a field goal. We thought the kicking game might make a difference, and that just goes to show you anything can happen in a Monon Bell game.
That's right. And for most of the game, the kicking game was the Achilles heel for both teams. Hurt them both equally, and isn't it poetic justice, whatever you want to call it, irony, that the game comes down to a huge kick. I don't care if you're in the NFL, if you're in the Big Ten, if you're at one of the greatest college games in the country here. That's a long field goal, and that is not a gimme.
It's a field goal by a young man who actually shares the number with 2 or 3 other players. Jordan Haverkamp, the sophomore from Indianapolis, is the backup kicker. But again, when we look at the whole kicking, like you say, this is not a team where you say a couple of field goals have even kept them in it. They had a missed extra point earlier in the game that forced a 2-point conversion attempt, which was successful, to tie it up at 21 apiece. So no one probably, except maybe for Matt Walker, who had a lot of confidence to even try a 47-yarder. And Jordan Haverkamp will forever be remembered for winning a Monon Bell game. That is the impact that this game has for generations. It is the foot of Jordan Haverkamp that kept this from overtime and brought the Bell back to DePauw 24-21. Wow.
And let's give a lot of credit to the DePauw coaching staff. They stayed aggressive on that last drive. They had an opportunity, if they wanted to be conservative and take it to overtime. But instead they stayed aggressive, and it paid off with the game-winning field goal.
Natalie is standing by with the man who's probably the second happiest guy here behind Jordan Haverkamp. That's Matt Walker.
Okay, I don't know. I think he looks like he's still in shock here, to be honest with you, Kenny. But, Coach, getting the interception there, walk us through what you were saying in some of those timeouts on the last possession.
Well, I mean, you're just telling the guys, I mean, for example, on the field goal timeout, I said, guys, there's not too many times you get a chance with a dead ball to go out on the field and say, this play is going to decide the chance to take home the Monon Bell or not. And I said, do everything you can. They're saying the same thing. They're going to come as hard as they can, and let's go get the Monon Bell. And everybody came through. What a great football game. Both sides played great. Very well coached, very well played. Just an atmosphere unlike any other in college sports.
You know, Jeremiah Marks had an outstanding game, breaking records. Senior year, can you wrap your arms around the feeling of getting this Bell home his senior year, and especially with your DePauw background?
No, I mean, what a special one. And the crazy thing about this, we said all week to the guys, this senior class that won this game is the last one to have won this game. They're the only ones that rang that bell, and I told them, let's give our student body, our campus, and especially the football team a chance to ring this bell one last time. And I feel so good for our seniors. You can't say enough about Jeremiah Marks and all the guys that made football plays today.
Well, I think we need to let this coach go celebrate and ring that bell.
Thank you very much.
I can't hear
a huge win for Matt Walker. An incredible gamble, perhaps. Jordan Haverkamp, as we search through the records here, had never attempted a field goal, period. He comes in and kicks a 47-yarder to win the 114th Monon Bell. You can't make that kind of stuff up, can you?
No, he looked like he'd been doing that his whole life.
What poise, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he looked perfect. Everything was right on target. He's from Park Tudor in Indianapolis. Maybe he was a soccer player too, because his leg, I mean, even an average to good kicker is not going to have that much foot on a kick that distance. I mean, that was good from 50.
For the third time in the last 11 years, an 8-win season for DePauw. They'll finish up at 8-2. Wabash loses for the first time this year. They go to the playoffs next week. What does that do for them, Joe?
Well, it sends them on the road more than likely, but it also gives them an opportunity to quickly put this behind them and focus on playing another week. A rare opportunity for a team that loses in the Monon Bell game to get to keep playing.
Well, we knew the stars would come out. Pennenberg did, Marks did, Spud Dick did, Hudson, they all did, but it came down to a sophomore making his first collegiate kick. Jordan Haverkamp from 47 yards out to decide this Monon Bell. You've been watching the battle for the Monon Bell, and thank you for joining us. The executive producer of HDNet Sports and director this afternoon, Daryl Ewald. The producer who is moving on to coaching and teaching and other things, David Butler. Best wishes. Today's engineers, Dan Neighbors and Danny Neighbors. Lead cameraman is Tom Harker. Thanks to our great crew here. Also the SIDs, Wabash, Brent Harris, and DePauw, Bill Wagner. Great job as always. Joe Emmick, Rob Doyle, a pleasure being with you. I look forward to seeing you next year. For Natalie Taylor as well, Jeff Williams helping us out on statistics and spotting. I'm Kenny Rice. Final score, DePauw wins it 24-21 on a 47-yard field goal by Jordan Haverkamp. It was a classic.